The City Council to order this Monday, March 9th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. And I'd ask former Councilman Jim Ward to deliver our invocation.
Let's pray. Father, I just come before you now with humble heart. Lord, I just ask that you continue to bless this nation, protect it from those that might seek to undermine or to destroy it. Lord, I pray for our military, our president, members of Congress, and the decisions that they make will be in accordance with your will and under the guidance and direction of your Holy Spirit. Pray, Lord, that you'll continue to bless this town. And Lord, I just pray that the decisions that are made here tonight will be in accordance with your will. And we ask that you continue your blessing for this nation. And I pray it all in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledges of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Texas flag, honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
Yeah, I wish I could. That's okay.
How you doing there, Rosie?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, our first order of business is to ask, are there any citizens here that wish to speak before council, before the meeting starts?
Hey, you, I'm gonna sign up right now. I'll fill this out if that's okay with you.
Right.
Okay, I mean. My name is Louis Dilliger. I live in Blackstone, longtime resident of Port Lavaca, approximately 61 years. That's not my age, but that's about how long I've been here. I wanted to talk to council about item number 23 and 24. It has to do with shared living room. I read just a little bit that you guys had the opportunity to have a workshop on. I wasn't privy to, not that I wasn't privy to, I wasn't in town that day, or else I would have attended, but my schedule didn't allow me to. So some of the things that I read, it just left more questions than answers. And some of the questions that I had were the code enforcement that took the complaint. Did we go back and visit with the owner of whose property was in question? And was it more than one property that having us address this ordinance? Was it 20? Was it 50? Is there 100? Do we really have a problem? Some of the other things that I asked is, so did we go talk to the owner and try to find out what the actual root cause of the complaint is? Is the root cause parking? Is it the loud music? Is it actually the occupancy? Is what is the real problem here? Because it's not an accumulation of everything. Usually if somebody complains, it's always about the one thing. So if it's the parking, talk to the owner and find out what can we do to not impose another law. If it's an occupancy issue, we have the fire department that we can pull them in and say, hey, you just went from a residential to a commercial item here. Let's see if we can fix it with that. The other problems could be the guy just doesn't like that guy. That could be an envy question that may come into play. Have we called the city that we're taking the ordinance from, Humble? Did we ask them how effective is this ordinance? How many people have actually signed up with this ordinance? Who's asking for some more paint, because there's going to be a tremendous amount of paint just due to being compliant with this ordinance we're talking about. Because every 3 years, somebody's got to come in and do some pressure testing of the natural gas. Somebody's got to come in and look at your plumbing. Somebody's got to come in and look at your electrical. There's going to be a lot to this. So, and you guys will read that in the ordinance. Has anybody even seen the permit? What's a permit even look like? So there's just a tremendous amount of questions in this. So does it look like, hey, I saw this guy over, I'm trying to come up with the scenario just real quick. I'm dancing on my feet. Come up with the scenario and say, if you see 3 cars out there on the weekend, is this a possible complaint just because it's got a family gathering? So it just turned into, I think, a lot more work for our code enforcement that I believe is already they have their wheelbarrow pretty full right now. So all we're just doing is just adding more to it. I think these inspections that I talked about earlier, I believe they're pretty unreasonable also. That's just something. And then for the city, on the city side, are we looking to see, so we have an influx of people, and I would tell you it's Formosa and Dow, Cedar Coke also. So those 3 entities there, if we have all these people in town, now our sewer system is being taxied. Is that something that we want to address with this? And do we not welcome more people into our town? What a great problem that we have is that we have to upgrade our sewer. And I know you guys are already looking at that. Is it that we need to put a pause on this ordinance until we can get our arms around the city sewer problem? And I think it's a great problem because it shows that we're growing. Do we tell the people, hey, we're closed for business? We want to send people to Victoria. We want to send them to Bloomington. I'm telling you guys, I do have one of these in our town. And would I pass the red face test? I would, because I read the ordinance and am I in compliance with this today? I am. So I would pass that test easily. I would tell you some of my 1-bedroom apartments, I probably have somewhere in the order of about 40 of them. And I would tell you even that I could probably, with the way the ordinance is written, I could probably put 3 to 4 people inside these 1-bedrooms. I'm not going to do it because it's not the right thing to do. 150 feet for a person. I say that's not enough.
I think you're beyond your 3 minutes.
Thank you. And I appreciate that. Thank you.
If you want to speak when we call those items up, just raise your hand and we'll let you speak.
Thank you, Mayor. That's enough. You got. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I'm serving.
Laura?
Well, I'm not gonna have all the big words this gentleman did. Up here and try to make a point. I have several concerns, but I see we only have 3 minutes. So the one I'm gonna address the most is our water bill. I wanna know what happened to Port Lavaca that we now have to rely on GBRA to supply our water. Can someone answer that?
They're
In
not
3
allowed,
minutes?
they're not allowed to answer
Okay,
questions.
well then let's move on. I also would like to know what happened to the garbage gobbler that we used to rely on to pick up our trash. Now we have to rely on outside help as well, which raises our water bill, our sewer bill, our garbage bill. And a system needs to be in place to help our senior citizens and the low income based on the type of assistance that they may be receiving to help them pay that water bill. My mother has a step-in tub that she has not been able to enjoy in over a year and a half because the water bill keeps going up. She's only able to fill it up to her knees. Come on, that's not fair to her. Another thing, drainage ditches. You guys are really doing great for the city for Alamo Heights, but what about our little addition over here on Groves, where 303 Pub and Grub is? The drainage there sucks. We get all the city water coming to our neighborhood. I get everybody's trash. I get shoes. I get toys. I get clothes, debris. And the ditches down my neighborhood have not been excavated in over 3 years, which causes a lot of the flooding in my neighborhood right now. I live at 618 Randall. You can go down 2 houses and you'll see that home whose ditch is now cluttered. Her whole front yard is filled with water. And most of it is city property, which is the city's responsibility to go and clean out those ditches so water can flow properly. And we're not sitting in water and our homes are not sinking down into the black mud that we're in now. Okay, the street also needs repaving right there. Randall Street needs repaving. Just the same type of work you guys are doing on the other side of town. It needs to be done on the poorer side of town. And also, a family of 5 living on an Alamo Heights edition pays the same amount of water a month, which is 137, that my mother pays, who's 84 on a fixed income. That's not fair. Port Lavacians, this city council needs to do better for our seniors, for the people that have been here since birth, the people that shaped Port Lavaca. We need to do better for them. And the low income, of course. And let's see, what else? Businesses on Broadway have lighting that's extremely bright. All of us on Randall Street cannot open our windows and enjoy any type of breeze because 303 Pub and Grub has lights that you can see all the way to the bayfront. That's unfair as well to us in the neighborhood. And that's it. I know I spoke fast. I hope you guys can do something about it. I'm sure I'm less under the 3 minutes, correct? All right, I'm good.
Thank you, Dolores.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Russell Kane wanted to be named.
I'm here this evening because I noticed that y'all were going to talk about our city police chief and our city manager. And all I'm going to say is that they're human beings and we all make mistakes. And I'm so thankful for Jody and for Colin Ragnow that they've been taking care of our city, and we all make mistakes and we learn from mistakes. And so I just want y'all to take that in consideration. It is so hard to find good police chief and a good city manager. And Jody's got her hands full and she's always looking out for our theater, for Main Street, for grants. And Colin is over the top with his officers and trying to get the right people to protect us. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Russell.
Pat? Christie?
Hey y'all, thanks for having me. So I was just gonna, I also wanted to voice my opinion about I just want to tell you the reason I ran for a county commissioner was because I wanted transparency in the county. And everywhere I went, I was knocking doors because, Alamo Heights is in precinct 2 for the commissioner race. And everywhere I went knocking doors, they were very appreciative of all the roads, of course, the roads being done, as you were saying. And I know there's only so much money that can go and you have to do a little at a time everywhere. But I just wanted to let everyone know that everyone that I knocked the door on was very appreciative of those roads, and they were appreciative of the drainage improvements in the Alamo Heights district. Also, whenever I went around since 2020, I've been trying to promote Port Lavaca while I'm running, because you could see now that since 2020, the transparency has increased dramatically. I mean, you could definitely see where all the money is going. All the projects now have pictures there. And if you go to portlavaca.org, you go to the projects, there's pictures, all the money's there, the projects, engineering, like literally everything's there. And from my understanding, Jody set that up back in 2020. And I really was promoting that for the county. I'm hoping the county, I don't know if nobody here from the county, but I'm hoping that Vern and the rest of the county commissioners follow through and make something similar to what the city has, where it's a very open and transparent thing. So I just wanted to thank y'all for that and let y'all know that it's definitely being recognized, not just by me, but throughout the city. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jim Ward. Alicia.
In response to your comment about the water, I would have to say, I'm sorry, because what happens when you sell your assets, you have no control over the cost. And unfortunately, that's what we did, was when we sold GDRA, then we had no control over the.
But why did that take place? I mean,
We didn't
was there?
Oh,
She probably needs to talk to the city manager because that's not exactly what happened.
anyway, The reason I'm here is to talk up Jody and Colin. When I saw this on the agenda, I talked with some of by the way, Jody and Colin both are members of the Rotary Club. I talked with some of the Rotary members. I talked with some people from Formosa. I talked with different business people. I talked with the sheriff and some of the county officials. And they were very, very positive in their response as far as how they felt about Jody and the job that they're doing, and also that Colin and what the police are doing. Because right now the police department probably is, the morale is better than it's been in a long time. As you all know, I was on the council for 15 years, and there have been some times it's not been so good, but right now it's really good. And I appreciate what Colin has done. I appreciate what Jody's been doing. You guys are awesome, and I thank you for that. The other thing, I brought this in case any of you want it. It's this business about, if you look on Facebook or Port Lavaca Listens, I got a ticket because it was my birthday. What? You know, when you start putting stuff like that on Facebook or Port Lavaca Listens about you're walking on the wrong side of the street, these are the laws right here. The law is about riding a bicycle. You ride with the traffic. You have to have reflectors. If you have a sidewalk, you walk on the street. You walk on the sidewalk. You don't walk in the street. If you're walking on the street, you walk facing traffic so you can jump out of the way in case they decided to run over you. But see, we've taken some of this stuff and we just so overreacted and blamed the police when the police are trained with this at the academy. They tell them what to do. These are the laws. And I don't think we want to ask this police chief to say, well, we only want you to enforce this after you've stopped them 3 times, or you've stopped them 2 times, or something like that. Okay, let's take care of this and let's let him do his job. Remember, the job of the council is policy. The job of the council is not running the city. That's Jody's and the department heads. That's their job. Anyway, thank you very much, and God bless all of you.
Thank you.
Felicia, you have Felicia's papers? We should have it permanently on file.
Yeah.
Felicia, you gonna time yourself?
10 minutes, right?
You only need a few seconds for the dog park.
No, I would like to, everything Dolores said and better, Miss Dolores. I love to see the community come in, and it's not just me up here. So it means a lot. And how do you guys know what's going on unless someone comes in and says something? So I did have to say, I don't know if you guys heard that I have this big thing behind my house going on. You guys don't know about it. Seen me every month. They had a great consultant come out. We had a really good contractor that they finally, it was funny when he came out, they just fell into place. And Jody could attest to this, not right now, can't speak. And so I appreciate really getting that done well. The consultant had the geotech come out. He was kind of in awe sometimes. He says, I just lost it. It disappeared down in this hole. I was like, well, yes, we've seen a few of those holes. So I appreciate it's moving and have been updated. I've requested a copy of the report just so we know what's going on and kind of have an idea. And I'm keeping the neighbors involved, privy to what, all the plans that are going and kind of, because it is civil work, it takes a little bit of time. So kind of to at least that transparency, people know what's going on. I think we've been really transparent with moving this forward. I'd also like to say it had come up. You see me come in here. Someone told me I'm calm when I come in here. And I was like, I don't feel very calm. But I think, so the idea of Jody and Colin came up and I said, Jody, I think you guys are, and not because I particularly like her or don't, but she does an amazing job. I think we don't deserve her. I don't think we'd ever find anyone that manages everything that goes on here, be in a small town. being a small town, the amount of work that goes on here and the quality of work is really good. I've requested that I think we need to get a deputy city manager or city engineer to kind of oversee all these projects. And hopefully we could get more projects going. We're working on bringing more businesses in and talking up. There's a lot of people talking up here about other places and bringing stuff in. So that's our job to do that. It's the mayor's job to make sure that our name's out there everywhere. So we're bringing money in for you guys to spend back on us. And so I couldn't say more about her, and I'm going to stop because she gets, very, big headed and things like that. And then about Colin, I would like, I particularly like Colin, but I have nothing to say because I don't have run-ins with Colin. And I don't know if that's because he avoids me, but you guys that's probably why exactly. But, and I agree with Jim that the things you're going to hear online, you don't get a lot that's positive. I will say that I heard something positive the other day where they had the reading at school day that they asked the police officers read at school. So that was much appreciated. That's not my alarm. So I have heard good things, but the idea for me is to not have interactions with Colin if I don't have to. I like some of the programs they put in place. And then lastly, because I know my time is out, I appreciate Jody's been working with me, or I've been forcing her to work with me about different locations on dog parks. So maybe kind of, if we're going to do this, let's do it the best way possible. If you guys didn't know, I'm also looking at trying to get a dog park here in town. So yeah, see, new idea. Okay. So oh yeah, you didn't know. You haven't been here. It was new. I was going to say dog park. So thank you guys very much. I appreciate all the work that you guys are putting into getting all these different things done.
Thank you, Felicia.
This is the last one. Yeah. We have Jake Garrett, but he's here to speak on agenda item number 3. So you just want to wait and speak when we call the item? Perfect. It's usually better when you do it that way. You get to talk back and forth. All right. Maybe that's all the comments from the public. There's no one else here that wishes to speak that signed up. Seeing none, we will move on to the consent agenda, which consists of the minutes of the February 9th, 2026 regular meeting, the minutes of the February 23rd, 2026 special meeting and workshop, review of our credit card statements, receiving our monthly financial highlight report, receiving employee training and review acknowledgement report in the February 28th, 2026, receiving port administrator's monthly report in the February 28th, 2026, and receiving our Victoria Economic Development Corporation monthly report. Motion on that?
Yeah, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. None opposed, motion passes. Okay, we'll move on then to the regular action items. Agenda item number 1, consider resolution number R-030926-1 of the city of Port Lavaca, authorizing publication of a notice of intention to issue combination tax and surplus revenue certificates of obligation for Lynn's Bayou wastewater treatment plant expansion project, which project is identified as the Texas Water Development Board number 73963. Jody?
Mayor, Council, I will go through this as quick as I can, but I think it's important to highlight all the information before taking this vote. As you recall, the Texas Water Development Board approved a Clean Water State Revolving Fund loan in the amount of $39.15 million to fund an expansion of our wastewater treatment plant. This would expand from 2 million gallons a day to 4 million gallons a day. And the deadline to close the COs is May 31st of this year. And in order to proceed with this loan opportunity, council must authorize publication of the notice of intent to issue these COs at least 45 days prior to the day tentatively set for passage of the ordinance authorizing issuance of these certificates of obligation. And the date is set for the regular meeting on May 11th, 2026, in order to meet the May 31st closing date deadline. If you recall, back on May 27th of 2025, council did authorize the publication of a notice of intent at that time to issue COs for this project. However, the ordinance to authorize the issuance of the COs was not voted on because staff was able to receive an extension from the Water Development Board on the loan offer to May 31st of 2026. This extension was approved to provide us additional time to establish a tighter cost estimate based upon a 90% complete construction plan set, and for TCQ to consider a waiver to the requirement to begin construction at this time. So to briefly review the background information of how we got where we're at, wastewater discharge between November 2020 and April 2022 exceeded 90% of the permitted flow and triggered a requirement of 30 TAC Chapter 305.12a, which basically requires that once you exceed 75% capacity for 3 months in a row, you must begin engineering. And two, once you exceed 90% capacity for 3 months in a row, you must begin construction. Now, as been discussed previously, these exceedances occurred for about 18 consecutive months in 2020, 2021, and 2022 during periods of COVID and Formosa's plant expansion. We're currently back to normal flows, covering at or below 75% capacity. Because we did trigger this engineering requirement, though, during the 2020 and 2022 period, council did authorize engaging AECOM Engineering to prepare the design of an expansion to the wastewater treatment plant in order to comply with TCQ. The 30% complete design resulted in an estimated cost of $39.15 million. Council then authorized completion of the design to 90% in order to tighten up the construction estimate. As of the present time, we have a shelf-ready expansion project, and the engineering construction estimate as of September 2025 is $36.5 million, which unfortunately is not significantly less than the original estimated cost of $39.15. Now, it's projected that the construction cost will increase each year about 5%. So the cost in 5 years could be around $50 million. Now, last year, understanding the significant burden this will cause on our current ratepayers, staff appealed to TCQ for a waiver to the requirement to begin construction at this time. One, we have a shelf-ready project. And two, we have not had 3 consecutive months above 75% in quite a while. Last fall, the person assigned this request in TCQ Enforcement Division did recommend approval of our request to begin construction on expansion, or waiting until beginning of construction until we were closer to the 90% trigger. We were told to expect this written approval in February, but to date, we still have not received it. As discussed at the recent council workshop, it's anticipated that there may be more stringent requirements for the quality of the wastewater discharge in the new permit, which will become effective later this year. Construction components needed to address these increased treatment parameters, as well as improvements needed to meet current requirements, are included in the expansion project. Now, if we do not proceed with the expansion project, then consideration must be given to those improvements needed to meet the discharge quality requirements, apart from flow quantity. I did reach out to Water Development Board after our last meeting on February 27th, asking whether this current $39.15 million loan offer could be reduced to include a reduced scope of only improvements needed to meet the quality of discharge apart from the expansion. Water Development Board is currently considering this request. They've let me know that they will be calling soon to schedule a meeting where we can discuss it. So tonight, the authorization to publish a notice of intent does not commit council to the loan, but it keeps all of our options open. The vote to decide whether to move forward with the loan commitment will be taken on May 11th. Between now and then, we hope to have written approval from TCQ regarding the requirement to construct, a response from the Texas Water Development Board regarding a possible reduced scope project, and options for sewer rate increases to generate revenue to pay the debt service. So again, tonight, all the action, we're just asking to go ahead and approve authorization to publish the notice of intent, again, to keep all our options open and notify the public that there will be a vote on May 11th.
Cody, is there a chance we can get another extension on this? Okay, so we exhausted that.
No, to be perfectly honest with you, the board might give it to us, but we wouldn't get it past staff.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, if they'd already told us.
It's been good for 3 years now in a row, right? 23, 24, 25. We've been below the 75%.
Yeah, as far as the quantity. The concern again, remember, is we are going to be dealing with some issues, minimum about $5 million quality issues. And so that's the thing, whether we want to keep this option open with the hopes that Water Development Board would let us transition that into a smaller loan amount. Because again, borrowing from the Water Development Board is the cheapest way to borrow money.
It's not?
It is.
Or it is?
Yes. And that's why it's, you don't really want to give up this opportunity if there's still, and again, tonight's vote does not mean you're voting to borrow $39.15 million.
Yeah.
You're keeping all the options open, just saying that you're going to make that vote on what to do on May 11th. And that on May 11th, you could, say, we're not going to do this, or we're going to, if we work something out with Water Development Board, we may be looking at a lesser amount, or, the option is go ahead and go for the full 39 million.
Give us time to look at our growth,
Right.
see how that's going.
It gives us more time to keep getting more information.
We'll have more residents and more businesses that can help divide the cost up and make it cheaper for everybody.
That's the whole reason for pushing it down the road. Is the permit doesn't get approved until August or later?
The permit
Permit has been applied for,
Right.
and it's in review.
So will we know any quality parameter changes before the permit is issued?
We'll have a draft permit in August.
Well, we should
have to make the decision May 11th though. So I guess there's.
Yeah, we won't have anything by then.
we talked about it. We talked actually of a note today, and that's the struggle. We may not have enough information to where we want to necessarily go with that $10 million option, which is the, changing the course of the outfall. But I think the 5 million, there's a little question. That portion of it at some point needs to be done to handle the zinc and copper issue.
That's going to address power issues and ammonia issues. The
Issues and the ammonia issue.
issues.
Okay, so it's like what? You said a new aeration chamber?
It'd be in an plant basin.
And then as far as power, it's just new equipment.
It's new MCC. Our MCC is over 50 years old. And they're hobbling to piecing together parts and pieces because you can't buy parts and pieces for it anymore. So we've got parts in the cabinet that are mismatched.
That's 5 million. We'll cover that.
It's for both things.
Nominally, I think it was 4 point something, but round about 5 million.
It's a hard one to make a decision on because we don't have all the information in front of us. Are you guys hearing anything about for sure that these wastewater quality changes will take place?
As far as changes, I don't know. We know anything for sure. We just know that right now we're not meeting consistently zinc and copper.
I can say for certainty, having written and applied for several of these permits, that anytime they put a limit on you that you have to monitor, the very next permit you get is going to have those requirements. And this permit that I wrote 3 years ago now has ammonia monitoring. Our very next permit will have, you can rest assured, will have ammonia requirements. And we've got one of the least stringent permits in the state because of the age of our plant and what it can handle. But that's not going to be the case anymore.
These new requirements are based off of that oyster reef out there.
It's off of the bay we deposit into.
Again, I mean, the vote tonight doesn't commit council to anything.
No, but it's one more step closer to the big commitment.
True, but if you don't do it, then the decision's made tonight. Because you can't, I mean, this,
Bond rates going for these days.
oh. Yeah, I don't remember. I just know that they told me it's less than it was last year. That it was, that the payment was gonna be 2.2 million for the entire 39 million. It was like $2.2 million a year. And last year, I think they were estimating like 2.35.
Well, if we don't make the commitment for intent.
I mean, we'll
We're
run
gonna be
it.
stuck
I mean,
with the old plant for how long?
no, I mean, if we don't do this, then what the next step is, we'll need to regroup, look at the areas that we need to
Specific
meet
areas.
TCQ's requirements for treatment now, and then look at selling COs, either go back to the Water Development Board with another loan or other funds.
That's another unknown too. We could go back for another loan.
Yes, we can, I mean, we can apply.
If the permit is issued in August and it has new requirements, how much time do we have to work on those new requirements?
If we fail or break permit 3 months, then they'll send out a notice of violation. And then if we continue to break permit, then they will put us under enforcement.
We need 3 months to come into compliance after they issue a new permit requirement.
Yes.
The equipment now, there's no way that it could,
Barely meeting, my ammonia is all over the place. I'll have one day at 0.04 and the next day I'm at 2.5,
How old is that plant?
50 years.
50 years?
Is there any portion right now as a water development board loan that could be forgiven because of our community size?
We have requested that, and I mean, that is a sad fact that we're just quite not disadvantaged enough. We're just over, I mean, and yeah, I don't, other communities have that option, but we don't, unfortunately. We don't.
so we don't move forward with this notice of intent. We'll just buy the time to go back and do it later, apply for the same loan.
Well, I mean, we would basically, well, again, it depends on what we do. If TCQ does in fact, which I believe they're going to, is tell us we don't have to construct now and we have a shelf-ready project. But so the timing of expanding the project's put back on us. But these issues with the quality, that's going to be up to TCQ. I know my understanding, Wayne, you correct me if I'm wrong, is part of the reason why they haven't really been hounding us about some of these zinc and copper issues is because they know it's in the expansion project. Right. And so if we don't do that, then they're going to be immediately, okay, now what are you going to do about that? Because right now we've answered it. But if we
Now we're supposed to have a remediation and reduction plan in place and operating.
We're already under violation.
Yeah, we have been since they put the copper restrictions on us.
But they're not, we're not doing anything because they know we're.
As part of the zinc and copper remediation removal plan, we put it under engineering for the expansion of the plant to be covered so that it would be an issue that was addressed once the plant was up in operation. So if we do away with this, then I'm right back at square one, and then I've got to figure out how do we remove copper and zinc if we don't pay to put the pipeline out and they reduce our limits, which is another $11 million on top of the stuff that we know we have to do. Or we put in a system at the plant, which could be $5 million initially to install, and then probably about $1.2 million a year in chemicals to add.
Copper and zinc was under control with the solids. And
Yeah, but I'm breaking permit doing that as well.
you're breaking permit.
Breaking permit doing that as well.
It's not an I&I issue when we get too much infiltration. That's when you go out.
No, that's part, when we get the infiltration, we lose solids because I have to keep the solids content so high that it's keep from breaking permit.
So when we fix the I&I, will that then go away?
No, because I'm still breaking permit on solids content.
Water Development Board is considering a reduced.
I've sent, and I copied y'all on the email that I sent to Water Development Board. They did call me back like 2 days later and acknowledged that they did receive it and that they were reviewing it internally. And they would call me to set up a meeting to further discuss. I'll be honest with you, I have no idea if they're, they gave no indication whether they would consider this or not, other than the fact they didn't say a no immediately. They
We'll
did say they
still
were
be able
considering.
to cancel this at a later date.
All we're doing tonight is,
You could say no.
yeah, all we're doing is we're following the law and telling the public, hey, public, we're going to be considering this on May 11th. We're not voting on anything tonight. On May 11th, that's when we're not going to do it. That's when you vote.
This
We're
is
not
for
going to do it.
publication of the
or-
notice.
Yeah.
Keep the.
You're not saying you're going to do it. You're just publishing a notice to the public that we're going to consider this on this date. So they can be informed and they can come express their concerns or their support or whatever. And then on the 11th, that's when we make the decision, and you can't change your mind after that. Again, if you don't vote, you've made the decision tonight because it's
Except for that. Okay. I don't think this changes anything, but the 45-day prior falls on March 27th. If you had a special meeting on the 23rd, you could publish in the Advocate that week. You could, you wouldn't want to, that is waiting to the last minute. And again, I don't think you have any different data in 2 weeks.
And I had asked about that, and I was discouraged to do anything in the Advocate since our normal is the way it could be subject to scrutiny. Yeah.
We're transparent, so we don't want to be doing that.
Right.
Okay.
Thank
I
you.
just wanted, to have all the.
This is no different. Honestly, it's no different than the vote last May, because all you're doing is making a publication, letting the public know that a vote will be taken on May 11th.
All right, well, I'll make a motion to approve the resolution of the City of Port Lavaca authorizing publication of the notice of intention to issue a combination tax and surplus revenue certificates of obligation for the Lynn's Bayou wastewater treatment plant expansion project.
We have a motion and a second approving resolution number R-030926-1 of the City of Port Lavaca authorizing the publication of a notice of intention to issue combination tax and surplus revenue certificates of obligation for the Lynn's Bayou wastewater treatment plant expansion project as presented. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Opposed, resolution passes.
Now to the easy stuff.
Agenda item number 2, consider request from the Texas Gulf Coast Press Association and the South Texas Press Association for the nautical landings meeting room and deck on April 16, 2026, and Lighthouse Beach Pavilion on April 17, 2026, in conjunction with their joint convention, including consideration of a waiver of facility rental fees with the exception of the required alcohol-related permit fees. Dania?
Mayor, Council, this comes on behalf of the Texas Gulf Press Association, of which Shelley Bartels, she's here, she's a board member. And for the first time ever, they're coming to Port Lavaca. There's been some challenges with this because of hours booked, but I think we've worked out a way to do it. And part of that will involve an off-site reception on Thursday night, welcoming people. and then a fish fry. And the KCs are going to actually do the fish fry on the Saturday night. We'd like to do that at Lighthouse Beach, and we're asking for waiver of fees for those facilities. They are a nonprofit. And so that, it's not a for-profit business requesting it. I think it'll be a good reflection on Port Lavaca.
Who's invited to this? Public or,
No, this is actually newspaper people from across the state.
okay, so it's a certain group.
Right.
Wanted to go.
Well, I'm sure as a councilman, the invitation would be open to all of council. I would welcome that, actually.
Next motion to approve the request.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the request of the Texas Gulf Coast Press Association and the South Texas Press Association for use of nautical landings and on April 16th and Lighthouse Beach Pavilion on April 17th, 2026 as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none opposed, motion passes. Right, we'll move to agenda item number 3, consider a request from Snappy Company to allow a vehicle inside the Bauer Community Center for event use and provide direction regarding facilities, guidelines, safety requirements, and insurance provisions. Dania?
Mayor and Council, we have had a request, and I believe Jake's here to talk tonight too. Had a request by the Snappy Company to bring a vehicle into the Bauer. It's a photo booth. It's a really cool photo booth. It's a van. And a lot of people saw it at the Bridal Expo in Victoria. And so we have had some requests. I met with Jake. We measured a lot of the doorways. A vehicle would fit in the doorway. And then I've met with Wayne and Joe, and we've identified concerns of how that would look. And we just need some guidance because we don't have any rules or regulations regarding vehicles in the Bauer. The only thing we have to go on is back after Harvey. We did have the roll-up doors in the back, and leadership at the time when the remodel was done on the Bauer after Harvey, those roll-up doors were taken out with the intention that they didn't want vehicles in the building. And so we've kind of outlined our concerns as far as ventilation. The building doesn't have a sprinkler system. And while it will clear, it is a narrow clearance. If it comes in the widest door, it will have to travel across tile. And so, there is a potential for damage. If the request is approved, then, we would need some guidance on what the guidelines would look like, insurance requirement and all of that. And so, Jake, do you want to speak a little bit about it?
Yeah, just to address some of their concerns. When we spoke at the Bauer Center, when I met with Tanya, we said that one of the things we could do is over the entrance of the tile, we could lay plywood down. That would give some weight dispersion for the vehicle itself, because obviously we don't want to cause any kind of issues there or anything like that. We would have like moving blankets over the top of the van. That way, if we did come in contact with the door, we didn't cause any damage to y'all. And I'm pretty sure we would actually scratch or dent the van before we actually hurt a doorway or anything like that. The concern for no ventilation. I myself, if it's in neutral, I can roll it. So I would have no problem, killing the engine before it entered the facility and pushing it inside myself and then moving it where we need to go from there. And then, so no sprinkler system in there. Obviously, it's a city building, so it has fire extinguishers. And if y'all wanted us to, we could also bring our own, and have it staged there. We carry a $2 million general liability policy on the company, as well as insurance on the vehicle itself. So the insurance is on the vehicle and the company itself. In Victoria County, they require multiple things to be done before after a vehicle gets inside. One of the things being a plywood sheet or something of absorbed material underneath the van. That way, if there's an oil or fuel leaks, so we captured that there. Battery terminals disconnected from the battery, so we pulled the battery terminals off there. We locked you have a locking gas cap, you have to lock it, if not tape over it, that way nobody can easily access it. Yeah, that's all that Victoria requires, I should say, but yeah, we do have things in place that we already following Victoria. And obviously, if y'all wanted to go above and beyond, we need more happy with those requirements.
Is the front door, is the door by the tile, is that the only door it can come in? Because those tiles they pop up now. I mean, they're not that well cemented down now.
That is
So
the only door that it would
it's the
easily
only door it'll
come
Yeah.
through.
I think even if you put plywood down, I don't know that tile would survive. I don't know what.
So the van weighs about, I'll be honest, the van weighs about 1,800 pounds. You know, it's not very big. It's yay high by 8 foot long by about 4.5 foot wide, give or take, or 4 foot wide, whatever it is. And so it's obviously it's not heavy, but I don't think putting plywood underneath would allow the tile to crack, to be completely honest. I come from a background in heavy construction and we use those type of, matting very often. And so
I don't think it'll crack it, but it's like I said, it's the cement. It's
The ground, it's
the ground.
it's old.
Yeah, it's separating from the concrete underneath it. So just with walking on it, so I think a vehicle even would apply. Unfortunately, and if there was another door available,
Yeah.
But if that's the only door, I'd have I personally, because I've seen that tile when we worked with it, I'd have a hard time with that.
And whatever we decide on a vehicle, we have to be prepared that would set a precedent for a future vehicle. So we would have to have guidelines. Wayne, Joe, do you want to speak on it at all? We've all met.
I think is Victoria has a sprinkler building. Our building is not sprinkled. And y'all remember our kitchens were to remove that door to not allow vehicles inside. Or, I don't know, other people come to me and ask me before. We want to have some kind of shows and now we're not allowed.
if I may, the only comment I'll make on that is that we're the only vehicle like this. We're Corpus, Houston, Austin, San Antonio, as far as you gotta go, we're the only one in this whole entire area. And so whenever people do see our services, this is what they're most interested in, right? Obviously, it is a unique experience and that's what we're trying to bring to the community. So that people, yeah, Port Lavaca, Cuero, Victoria, so that's what we're trying to achieve. And I understand, obviously, y'all have concerns and rules, but we want to bring more to the community. And that's why we're asking for this.
I'm not familiar with this vehicle. What does it do?
So it's
There's a picture in our packet of it.
72, Ben.
One of the things we also thought about that we did look at was just putting it, letting people have it, but doing it like right up front, the double doors where the awning is and that type of thing. So it would still be visible, but not in the building.
Be protected from the wind and whatever.
Tarp or something,
Well, at the front of the building facing the highway, you pull up there where the ticket booths are, you're kind of protected from the wind. And that would be the perfect place. My issue with it is we took out the overhead doors, which gave us vehicle access because the council decided they wanted that to be a people only venue.
That was back then, but this is a tiny vehicle. It's 1,800 pounds. It's pretty small. It's not like a normal size vehicle. And you're talking less than 500 pounds per tire on that floor. So is it much more than people walking on it? We have problems with the floor. It's probably something we should address separately.
Where is that?
And then on that note, if you don't mind, the people that have reached out specifically said they want it inside. We have had people cancel in the time that we've been communicating, saying that if it's not inside, that they don't, obviously want to use it. And then we had another individual move from Bauer Center to Community Center in order to be able to do it inside.
Would you be willing to sign a liability acceptance letter if there's any damage?
Yes, sir. And obviously,
We're gonna be additional.
Inside of it.
It's like a snow booth kind of thing, but it's in a vehicle.
Additionally insured on their policy.
Both of them.
But I do think if we move forward with this, we need some standard requirements because we will have other vehicles asked for other purposes. And so there needs to be some sort of
Yeah.
rules and guidelines and all of that.
That would probably be the maximum size.
Yeah.
As it's like
Chamber to come up
eight
with the size.
inches, 4 inches on each side.
Clearance.
So that could be the maximum. You could set it as maximum.
Yeah, model the policy after.
Victoria's, but they allow other vehicles. I'm saying we wouldn't allow a vehicle larger than this.
Right, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
You really wouldn't want nothing larger than this, but this is more of a photo booth than it is a vehicle. So, yeah, Jake's done a lot of work to address all of our concerns. And as, you know, if he does get in there, and more concerns pop up, he'll be willing to address those as well. So I'm open to the idea. So with that being said, I'd like to make a motion to approve the request from the Snappy Company to allow the vehicle in the Bower for event use under the direction of the facility guidelines, safety requirements, and insurance provisions.
To be developed by the administration. Good.
Yeah. You want to do that separately?
I mean, I would say that you're going to allow them to come up with those guidelines, meaning probably, I'm saying some of the terms will be insurance, additional insured, all the Victoria stuff. The vehicle wouldn't be bigger than that, but I think your administration can develop those.
Yeah.
Good.
It'll be good for the city.
Yeah.
Council.
Whatever information y'all need from us to get this go through, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to get y'all whatever y'all ask for.
Couple of them, I think.
Yeah.
We had another guy here. You can give it to us.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Jake, for taking the time to.
Thank y'all very much. Appreciate it.
We have a motion and a second to approve the request of Snappy Company to allow a vehicle as presented inside the Bower Community Center for event use and provide direction regarding for facility guidelines, safety requirements, and insurance provisions to be determined by our city manager. Also, that we will be added to the Happy Company's insurance as a named insured. Right, so all in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Opposed, the motion passes. No people. So we don't have to vote for it.
That's right. Photo booth. Well, that's all we heard of it.
Yes,
Vanity.
photos.
My background thought. Right, we'll move then to agenda item number 4. Consider request of Cowboy Fellowship of Port Lavaca to use the pavilion at Bayfront Peninsula Park for their annual Easter sunrise service on Sunday, April 5th, 2026, and consider waiver of all associated pavilion fees. Tanya?
Mayor, Council, Cowboy Fellowship has done their Easter sunrise service at the Bayfront for the past several years. It is open to the community and they're requesting use of the pavilion once again for that.
Motion that we allow the Cowboy Fellowship of Port Lavaca to use the pavilion at the Bayfront Peninsula Park for the annual Easter sunrise service on Sunday and waive the fees.
We have a motion and a second approving the request of Cowboy Fellowship of Port Lavaca to use the Bayfront Peninsula Park for the pavilion at Bayfront Peninsula Park for the annual Easter sunrise service on Sunday, April 5th, 2026, and waiver of all fees associated with pavilion rental as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Not opposed, the motion passed. Be on the agenda to speak.
He was going to speak. And she's here in case we want.
It's not, let's hope it's not that far off.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move to agenda item number 5. Consider a request from the American Legion Post 167 for the use of the Veterans Memorial and large pavilion at the Bayfront Peninsula Park on May 25th, 2026 for the Memorial Day and flag retirement ceremony, including waiver of all associated fees.
Mayor, Council, this has changed just a little bit. The American Legion had reached out after their last event and then several months ago that they wanted to do this event. After I got it on the agenda, they did have a meeting last week, and their small group, they're older. Apparently the youngest is 70. And they're worried about being able to do that. That's at 4:00 today. And we'd really like to see a Memorial Day and flag retirement event. So I called Jennifer after I got that, Jennifer Lighthouse Beach, Jennifer, who has a passion for veterans and all that. I asked her if we got Wayne's blessing and council's blessing, if we could maybe pull it off. And she would like to try to do that and work with me to still have a Memorial Day event. So I guess the event and the request is the same, but it would be a different request. And I asked Anne Marie if that was legal, and she said yes.
Yeah, and the Veterans Council willing to assist.
I think we would reach out to all of them and make it more inclusive, you know, VFW, American Legion. I do think we'll have some people. There's some younger active duty people that I think would help. But
they have a set ceremony that's really significant, and we'd like for them to do with their normal ceremony.
That's my request.
Listen to approve the request.
Second.
A motion and a second approving the request from the American Legion Post 167 for use of the Veterans Memorial Large Pavilion in the Bayfront Peninsula Park on Monday, the Peninsula Pavilion at the Peninsula Park for Monday, May 25th, 2026 for the Memorial Day and flag retirement ceremony, including waiver of all fees associated as presented with the changes made by Tanya French. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. None opposed, motion passes. All right, we'll move to agenda item number 6. Consider request to approve the overnight use of the Bayfront Peninsula Park Friday, June 19th, 2026 and Saturday, June 20th, 2026 in conjunction with the Juneteenth celebration activities.
Mayor, Council, after the first year that we moved to the Bayfront Park, we realized that one of the things that attendees at the Juneteenth celebration missed was being able to stay in the park and cook all night, play dominoes, whatever they wanted to do. And so the past 2 years, I believe we've done that, and we'd like to make that available again, which we would have security, overnight security, but we'd like waiver of the park hours for that event.
Alcohol out.
I'll get a permit.
They'll have a permit, yes. We'll have a permit for the entire event. So therefore, we would have overnight security as well.
There's a permit fee. There's security required based on the number of attendants.
Just during Bayfront Beats?
No, this is during the Juneteenth celebration.
Bayfront Beats is later.
Oh, later, okay.
Well, I make a motion that we approve the overnight stay from Peninsula Park on Friday, June 19th, 2026 and Saturday, June 8th, 2026 for Juneteenth.
Second.
We have a motion and a second approving the overnight use of the Bayfront Peninsula Park on Friday, June 19th, 2026 and Saturday, June 20th, 2026 in conjunction with the Juneteenth celebration activities as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Unopposed, motion passes. Here we move to agenda item number 7, consider request to approve the Juneteenth procession route on Saturday, June 20th, 2026, beginning at 10 a.m., starting at City Hall, traveling Virginia Street to Main Street and proceeding to the Bayfront. Authorized traffic control assistance and approved waiver of applicable city fees associated with the event.
Yes, parade too. Mayor Council, we just want to have a parade. We talked about where to start. It would be the golf carts, mostly walkers, maybe a few vehicles. And we thought City Hall would be a good place to start. It's too far. We followed the route mentioned, and that's our request.
Motion to approve the request.
Second. They used to do it from George Adams Park.
I'm sorry, what?
They used to do it from George Adams. That's a bit.
It's kind of long.
Yeah.
Oh, it's long.
We tried that one year. It was and one other person, me, my grandson, and my daughter, and we were the only parade people. George Adams Park.
Yeah.
We had a big old
A bigger
bus too.
From City Hall. All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the Juneteenth procession route on Saturday, June 20th, 2026, beginning at 10 a.m., starting at City Hall, traveling Virginia Street to Main Street and proceeding to the Bayfront, authorizing traffic control assistance and approving the waiver of applicable city fees associated with the event as presented. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. None opposed, motion passes. Okay, we'll move to agenda item number 8. Consider request to temporarily close Colorado Street between Main and Live Oak Street from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. on Friday, June 19th, 2026 for a Juneteenth after hours community event hosted by Kenny Banks.
Mayor Council, this is in conjunction with Juneteenth, but it is not a city sponsored part of the event. So I need to make that clear. Kenny Banks has reached out. He has the building that he's renovating at Main Street in Colorado, and he would like to close that section. He doesn't really need the full section closed, but we suggested the whole block for traffic control so people don't turn and then have to back up. He wants the 8 o'clock time frame is mostly for setup. It probably would start after the evening activities at Bayfront, and it would just be a place to gather and show off his restaurant and his all of that. He would provide security, and so we're just basically asking for the street closure request.
Band or something, or what? I mean, what's going to be in?
He's going to have
a DJ up there.
He's going to have a DJ, but not a band, and he's going to he'll have to obtain, if he's serving alcohol, he would have to obtain his own TABC and alcohol permit and all of that. That would not be under the city.
This building won't be ready at that time, will it?
He thinks it will be. He's going to have it ready for Iguana Fest.
Have a song.
Very soft opening.
I don't see how it's ready for Iguana Fest as far as the TABC permits. So it does take some time.
Have we done this before for private events? I mean, is this something?
I don't know that about it for.
Only thing I can think of that we've done anything close, because I did think when Remax has their little Halloween thing, I know we provided, I think, some traffic control outside on Virginia. They haven't really closed a street that I know of for a for-profit
We
business.
did do though behind over there with the bounce place.
The haircut.
The hair.
We did.
Oh, we did, yeah, the haircut place. Yes, we did.
School.
So there is for the back to school.
And is this any issues for the city people? I mean,
It's going to be an outdoor event.
are there any
Yes,
concerns?
I'm good with it if Colin is.
Any issues, Joe?
I mean, I think everybody knows.
I think if they
everybody's
know.
notified.
Right. I
Yeah.
think the only thing we would have to help with would be the barricades at each end of the block.
And there will be security there too.
Right, there has to.
We never, we've never had any problems.
Relatively small of it.
Make a motion to approve. We added such a little. We have a motion to approve. We have a second.
Yeah, I'll second.
We have a motion, a second, approving the request to temporarily close Colorado Street between Main and Live Oak Street from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. on Friday, June 19th, 2026 for a Juneteenth after hours community event hosted by Kenny Banks as presented. Virginia, does this conflict with the state alcohol laws? Are we are we allowed to serve alcohol at bars at 2 p.m.?
We're not, this is not our event.
This
We're
is-
not, they have to have their own
Hey.
alcohol permit.
They would have to have their own
Have to
alcohol.
comply this.
Only-
To comply.
Only thing I'm requesting is the street closure from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m.
You would have
We
to
would have to
comply.
comply with whatever alcohol law,
Yes.
but logistically, I don't think we could get the street back open before 2 a.m. if he goes to 1 o'clock or midnight. You know, we have to have time to get people out safely. So that is my only request is the street closure.
And I think he has to have some kind of independent permit because generally you can't take alcohol in and out of a bar.
Right.
Yeah.
They'll have to have an event permit.
Okay. We have a motion and a second approving the temporary closure of Colorado Street between Main and Live Oak Street as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Not opposed, motion passes. All right, agenda item number 9, consider request from United Way for use of the Bayfront Peninsula Park, including both pavilions for the Family Day event scheduled Saturday, September 19th, 2026, and consideration of waiver of all associated park rental fees.
This is their standard every year, United Way Family Day. I don't even know how many years they've done this, as long as I've been around. And so this is just the standard request. They just want to go ahead and start planning for September 19th.
Make a motion that we accept the request from the United Way.
Second.
We have a motion and a second approving the request from United Way for use of the Bayfront Peninsula Park, including both pavilions for the Family Fun Day event scheduled for Saturday, September 19th, 2026, and waiver of all fees associated with the park rental fees. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Not opposed, motion passes.
Thank you, guys. So many agenda items.
It's been a long time.
More to go before we reach the agenda item number 10, consider proposal from LSPS Solutions for mapping wastewater collection system infrastructure. Wayne?
Mayor, Council, in our ongoing efforts to reduce I&I to help alleviate some of the strain on the wastewater plant, we've done numerous rounds of smoke testing and identified basins where there's issues that actually match with the study that Doug Hearn did based off lift station hours and other tests they ran. We received a proposal last year to map the wastewater system, but we opted to do the water system first to identify all the valves and do a valve audit so that we could improve our water system. And this came back to me with
more sense of urgency.
Well, it's not just that. I got a revised proposal because they now do manhole inspections, and that was after completing the smoke testing. That was going to be our next step anyway. But if we can do this as well as do GIS mapping of our sewer system, it only makes sense to do it all at once and go ahead and jump into this, since the smoke testing basins we've already done match the areas that Doug had identified through lift station hours. So what we're recommending is that we approve the budget amendment and the proposal to Lynn Short for $132,960 to move forward with this so that we can get a better handle on I. We did also today have a meeting with AECom and a specialist from their Ohio office that deals with the I sewer issues across the country. And he, like Doug Hearn, said that this is the right step forward for what we're doing.
Great.
The proposal talks about mapping and then it just shows option 2 inspection. So there's no line items under inspection. So what are they going to do with inspection?
It's just that they do a pole camera and inspect the manhole and all the inverts inside of it.
We'll get a report on each manhole.
Yes.
They do any repair at that time or?
No, it's not repairs. It's just.
Because then we'll quantify and see what we've got, and then we'll figure out, how much money we're going to need to actually go and make.
I think we'll provide the recommendations what needs to be done.
So the option 2 is mapping that's in part of option 1, and also camera inspection and field data collection on each of the manholes and propagation of the geodatabase with data collected in the field.
And just to clarify, this agenda item is to go ahead and approve the contract. There's a separate agenda item later on to actually approve the budget amendment.
So what's the time frame on this, and then how long before we can actually start fixing the manholes?
As soon as I give him the go ahead,
we're going to start.
He'll schedule it and get started.
For 3 weeks?
He's been calling me once a week, bugging me, find out where we're at.
2 or 3 weeks? Or?
Yeah, probably. Probably about the same amount of time it took him to do the valve audit, which was fairly quick.
I'll make a motion to approve wanting this for 2 years.
Yeah. The $132,960.
Yes. Why don't we need the mapping, Wayne?
Color maps are paper and they're hard to update.
This just puts it in electronic form.
Yes.
But we're getting inspection, which is what we really.
Yeah.
Yes, the inspection is critical. So I second that motion.
This is for $140,000?
Yeah. Well, but the contract is $132,960. I think the budget amendment is 103, but that's a separate agenda.
I guess if there's more manholes discovered, but.
Did we get a second?
Yes, and this is, yes, right. I mean, this is based upon the number of manholes. We stumble across some new ones, it might be a little bit more.
We have a motion and a second approving the proposal from LSPS Solutions for mapping the wastewater collection system infrastructure with a proposed amount of $132,960. As presented, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Not opposed, motion passes. Now we're up to agenda item number 11, consider the electrical power issues at the Lynn Haven lift station. Wayne, you want to start it? Pass it on to V?
Yes, Mayor, Council, and I don't have any note there. The issue we have at I know some questions have arisen about the issues we're having at the new Lynn Haven lift station. The issues we're having there are not burn up motors. It's burn up VFDs that came from, that either comes from a low voltage state or a voltage spike. So I have somewhere in here. We were waiting on responses back from the lift station group.
It's a few lift stations and the pool equipment and anywhere there's a VFD is up. That's at risk.
The pool was a total different, because it's not, I'll get into that in just a moment. So what we have is the Lynn Haven lift station is a true 3-phase. So we had, and V will touch on this a little better, we have 3 phases of voltage that come in. And one of those phases dropped out. which caused the low voltage state. So the VFDs try to correct that, and they can't. And it burned up the VFD boards in my motors. So on equipment, with what we do with them, offer free pump replacements while they're working on our pumps, except they don't have any of these pumps in stock. They will be out Monday to install a temporary panel and a loaner pump, but they don't keep the Concerta pumps, which have the built-in VFDs in stock. So again, we didn't burn up pump motors, we burned up VFDs, and it was due to what V can touch on.
Those are the controls on top.
No, those are the VFDs are inside the pumps.
Well, they just help to control the speed, so they're to pump faster or slower to maintain level, right?
Yes.
What happened to the protection against that?
That's just it. The protection only works so well. There's nothing that's going to protect our motors 100%.
What about like surge protectors or something like that?
Yeah, even though surge protectors they don't protect 100%. It's just, it doesn't work that way. You know, I've seen them surge protectors fail and then blow pumps out of lift station. It just.
Should we just get rid of that feature and just have them on or off instead of speed controlled?
The reason we went with the speed controls there was because that neighborhood has a tendency to rag up, and these pumps are reversible, and it kicks the rags out of the impellers so that we're not out there every day pulling pumps and cleaning pumps out.
There's 2 pumps in there?
Yes. Try better than.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I'm V. Strauss. I'm with AT Texas, out of Victoria in this region. Power outage that Wayne was referring to was on Winter Storm Fern. That was on Sunday, January 25th. As y'all recall, we lost transmission service and our Brook Hollow substation went down. And so that's when power restoration was being taken care of, trying to get people back on because it was freezing temperature weather on that day. That morning, this was mid-morning when this occurred. So when we were switching load around to our sand crab station, this feeder that feeds the lift station here at Lynn Haven, a jumper burned up while we powered it up briefly, and a jumper burned, and it single phased them. So 2 phases had power, 1 phase did not.
So the jumper, a switch?
Do what?
Jumper, that's a switch?
It's wiring. It's wiring, and it burned up because of the heating load that was on all the load that we were trying to pick up. So at that time in the morning, that's understandable with the cold weather that we had. So that we think is probably where this issue arose from, was they were not getting full 3-phase at this location. So does this impact other businesses? It should possibly that use 3-phase if they're air conditioning or something, but this is a unique situation. These are different kind of motor loads. So
Nothing that affects like a regular residential or anything like that?
Residential single phase. If it was on that 1 phase, you would actually just lose the power to it. It wouldn't try to phase across for 3-phase full power and that's what Lynn Haven requires. So we did check after this. We did check all the connections and stuff, make sure there wasn't a corrosion issue. We didn't see anything. This is fairly new. This location's new, 900 Colorado Calhoun Street. And so it's definitely, there wasn't any corrosion or anything like that on the location. I think it was mentioned there was a power outage in 2025 and I looked that up. It was on November 3rd. It was a Monday, about 2:59 p.m. And there were 2 breakers that went out in the Brook Hollow substation. Animal got into a bus bar inside the station, took out 2 of the breakers, and this would have affected the same location, but it was a clear power outage. And that was restored about 5 o'clock after removal of the animal that was in the bus. It was a raccoon. It was a raccoon.
Barbecue with your.
I don't know how it got in there. I have no idea how it across all the barriers and lived that long to get there where he did. So, but that was another issue. That was November 3rd last year, and then this one on January 25th here. So, at all possibility, the reason for the whole outage on Winter Storm Fern was our transmission lost over the causeway. We had ice build up on some lines, started galloping with the wind, and then that happened. We lost the line. So that was the original cause. And then the switching issues, trying to get people back out. Sand Crab was powered up, but the Sand Crab station is over off of 35 behind the car dealership and such. That's our newer substation. And then this Brook Hollow substation is due to be replaced. And that's something that's been pushing that issue. So to move that forward. So eventually we'll eliminate that. In the meantime, they are looking to do some more improvements on Brook Hollow until we get to that point of replacing it completely. That would give us some option for a better feed option from transmission side.
So the report we got back from Han was that the shop confirmed that it was process plus VFD failed in both pumps because of an electrical anomaly, the way they put it, which could be transient voltage, a surge, or a sag, which with the report that was sent to us, it showed a sag and then a drop of that.
Phase, yeah. Right. That would have caused that.
But the stators weren't burned, and these were $25,000 pumps. So the repair was only $6,000 a piece. If it would have been a stator burnt, we'd have been at $15,000 to $20,000 a piece in repair.
Is like, liability insurance or property insurance to cover this kind of stuff, or no?
So every time it freezes, we're set up for the scenario to repeat. If a raccoon comes along.
I mean, the
I know, Han's
one
still
thing-
looking at this.
yeah, they're looking to see what they can do, but in all the years I've done this, one thing that you can't figure out or control is Mother Nature. I mean, it's the weather.
To deal with it though, there's gotta be some way to get ahead of it.
Harden it, or just go, like he was saying, go to a different type of drive. So.
Well, it'd be once the new station is up, then the likelihood of this kind of thing happening drops dramatically.
Well, what the new station allows us is, for one, more capacity to serve new load for sure. But it also has better switching capability. This Brook Hollow, the age of it, we've done a lot of work over there. Y'all know that. We've been trying to get some switchgear, but it also gives better switching capabilities that we do electronically from dispatch. So it sees a blink or it sees something go down, it automatically ties it back in quickly. Brook Hollow has some issues. We've been trying to get that to work correctly and tying it back to the 138 kV that's feeding back from Placido and those areas. That's what we're trying to alleviate. So the new station definitely will have all that capability plus capacity. So for growth, we have 4 breakers out of Brook Hollow that serve this east side of town mostly. And then we've got 5 breakers out of Sand Crab, which can pick up a lot of load, but heating load is a lot bigger than air conditioning load. And so that is the issue. We've got a big substation over there, but it can't carry the whole load of Port Lavaca in a winter storm situation. So
How far out are we on the new substation?
they kicked it out. It was due to start. First thing first is rebuild the transmission line. We've had open meetings, and that project has been bumped to begin at the end of 2027. To rebuild that line, we're not rebuilding it over the causeway. We're starting right here where the city begins, and we're going to reroute around. So we're not downtown Highway 35 all the way and going over the HEB shopping complex with the high voltage line. So that is the goal. Once that's in place, the substation needs to be placed on that new portion of line. It needs to be close to the city center as much as possible, just for the exit out and things like that. So we're looking at 2028 before that's in service. So.
Well, that equipment doesn't have any kind of safety backup that would prevent that from happening?
Our equipment?
Oh, our lifting.
No, I.
Well, we've got surge protection, we've got phase monitoring, everything that's required. There's nothing that the engineers or the designers did wrong. This is an anomaly that happens. It happens with all kinds of electric stuff that's three-phase. It's not something that we can control.
Surprised.
I don't know anything about electricity.
Or the VFDs on there.
It's like shut itself down if it lost a phase.
Yeah, a lot of times it kicks out if it sees it, so I don't know what
Yeah.
occurrence would have happened, but a lot of times that's what we notice in other facilities. If it doesn't see all the phases, it kicks it out, but.
See, it burned up the phase monitor at my wastewater plant. We were without air in our digesters and our aeration basins for a week while we were waiting on the phase monitor to come in.
It was like $50,000 worth of pumps. So they can't see all the
Subroutine in that BEP that, I mean, does something like that, kicks that phase, kicks it off if it loses the phase, might suggest.
Well, it's the purpose of a VFD is supposed to clean up and alleviate for that. But generally, yes, we should have shut down completely when we lost the phase. But if you have a sag, the VFD will take over because then it can slow everything down and regulate the voltage. But if that sag drops while it's doing that, or it spikes while it's doing, it comes back.
Is there any kind of power conditioning equipment we can put upstream so if we lose a phase, then it just shuts it down, so the VFD just shuts down too? I mean, it must be this would be a pretty easy thing.
That's what I've got Han looking at, because I asked him, I told him I can't have, a $6,000 repair every time we have a power outage. That's just not.
Those are diesel generators that are in the lift stations. Should we just run off of them and the freezing temperatures to try to get us off the grid, protect us from the sags? Something. I mean, it's going to be something to do.
Well, did the generator not come on at all?
Oh, yeah, the generator everything ran fine.
Run up already though.
It was when the power came back, it kicked the generator off, that we lost the pumps.
Ooh. How long before it gets fixed?
They're in the shop now. They'll be here Monday with loaner pumps and another panel.
Said it'll
be April.
Mid-April.
And we're still looking too at if there's anything up the line for us that we could do for this location or any city's volatile location, especially the water pump or water plant. So, but I've got them assessing some of that and just see what options we have. Yeah. A lot of times we look at just a dual route of being able to switch it to another circuit. So if something's out, but yeah, there's something we're looking at it too, just to give some relief here and something in the future.
See, it just so happens when the power came back, the leg that provides control power to the generator to tell it the power came back on wasn't the one that sagged out. So the three-phase leg that sagged out didn't register with the generator that the power went back down.
It's over my head, Wayne. I should have listened to my dad.
Temporary pump that we have now, does it run 24 hours or?
No, it's on a float system.
Or it's on float system.
So it runs the same as the pumps in the lift station would run.
And we're going to delay in that power swapping over. Like, make sure that this monitor says everything's good before the diesel shuts off.
Yeah, there is. There's a 5-minute delay.
Okay.
Get charged by the amount of hours, or how does that work on that pump?
It's weekly.
Weekly or monthly rate.
Yeah, we get daily, weekly, or monthly, and through national we get a good rate because they're here locally and
used them before.
Okay, good care of us.
So I'm asking her because I was curious. I'll see the new lines that are going on Broadway that have the little floaty things on them.
Yeah.
I was asking her about those. Is anyone else curious about those?
It's probably a bird diverter.
I don't, I've never seen
Thought
it.
it was to main, so that they would float easier.
If it's the electrical line, if it's a communication line, all it sounds like put those.
Well, these way.
I think it's electric.
Okay, bird diverters is what's in my mind.
They're temporary.
Or spoilers. Spoilers
They're
could
like
be.
plastic looking, aren't they? Like PVC looking?
Are you talking about the off the poles?
Yeah.
Those huge poles.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's.
The orange bars coming off of them?
but it doesn't look like it used to. It's got these new little.
Those are
floaty things.
offsets.
Those are just,
Those are all.
those are temporary.
They're doing the
Oh, they're
line
temporary.
construction. That's.
They're temporary.
That's
It's like,
That's
how
keeping the-
inventive. That's good for the free.
That's keeping the phases separated while.
I was giving you way more credit.
I love those new poles though.
Don't go nowhere.
I'm gonna feel sorry for whoever the first one to hit one of them, but I love those new poles.
Wind resistant.
There's no action we need to take on this. So whenever you find out that you're a problem on, you're gonna come back.
Thank you, V.
Oh, great.
Appreciate you coming down.
Saying that.
Thanks for all the updates on
I always say.
power issues. You wanna take a short break?
Not really.
It's pretty non-eventful, the next one.
Okay.
11.
Move then to agenda item number 12, consider award of administrative services agreement for community development block grant, disaster relief, local community program grant application. Jody?
Mayor Council, we are considering submitting one or more applications to the General Land Office under the 2024 Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Program, the local community program. And so in preparation for these potential applications, we issued a request for proposals to procure qualified grant administration services in order to help us with putting this initial grant application together. We did have a scoring committee that comprised of for the administration with Katrina, Rand, myself, and Councilwoman Rose Stewart to score the proposals. We received two, one from GrantWorks and one from KSBR. The scoring committee reviewed the proposals. There is a scoring sheet attached in your packet. There is no immediate financial impact to the city at this time. Any grant administration cost would be an eligible reimbursable expense with the program. At this time, the action we're asking for is to award grant administration services to KSBR for this CDBG DR local community program. Just so you know, that the projects that we're looking at, and we don't know for sure if we don't know for sure if in fact we are going to apply. Most likely we probably will apply the first level. There's two levels of this: an initial application, which is pretty basic, and it's primarily on a scoring criteria based upon our population and LMI levels and a lot of statistics we don't have a lot of control over, and that will tell us whether we even have a chance of scoring well enough if we actually do a full application. The admin contractor or consultant, they can help us determine the LMI of the project, and again, whether in fact we have a chance, a decent chance of scoring well enough to be successful in this down the road. The projects that we're looking at are the North Relief Channel project, which the city has been talking about doing for 30 plus years. We would most likely partner with Calhoun County in doing that. And the other project would be looking at streets and drainage on the south side of town, east of Virginia Street, and possibly the area north of Austin from Commerce West. Again, a lot of that depends on what we think we can score well enough in, which is what we need the admin consultant to help us do. We can't engage anybody or have anybody help us with this initial application until we go through the procurement process. Because if they were to help us now, that would disqualify them for being our consultant should we actually move forward with the grant application. So that's where we went through the process of soliciting proposals, and the scoring committee is recommending awarding a contract to KSBR.
Did you want to do this one? You were in on?
A motion that we
contract with.
the agreement for community development block grant, disaster relief, local community program grant application. Yeah. I think.
Second.
The contract, yes.
So we have a motion and a second awarding the contract for grant administration services to KSBR LLC, who received the highest score, to assist the city with preparation and submission of CDBG disaster relief LCP applications, and if awarded, an implementation of one or more grant contracts as presented. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. None of those, motion passes. With KSBR. All right, we are at agenda item number 13. Consider approval of a list of qualified engineers in category of drainage or streets and drainage for community development block grant, disaster relief, CDBG, disaster relief, local community program grant application in response to the RFQ number 0211 2026-E as recommended by the scoring committee.
Mayor, Council, we're doing this one for the engineers just slightly different than what we've done in the past because we don't know at this point exactly what project we are going to apply for. Although we do know it's going to either be, large format drainage, large area drainage, or a streets and drainage project similar to what we did in the south part of town. We did went ahead and went out for RFQs from engineers while we're doing the RFPs for the admin. It just kind of made sense. We did receive 6 6 qualification statements from 6 engineers, and we scored them based upon their qualifications and experience with drainage or streets and drainage. And then the other things you see there with federally and state funded projects, experience in construction management, past performance, and capacity to perform. All of these engineers are, qualified in their field, but 4 of them really didn't have streets and drainage, or drainage was not their forte. It was either, shoreline or utilities. Or they were just, nowhere near our region of the state. So in the scoring, which is attached as well, we were trying to identify some engineers that are qualified in what we are proposing to apply for, but not at the point yet to actually select one, because it will depend. Their scoring might change depending on exactly what project we end up applying for, or we may end up applying for 2, and to where we might want to award 2 contracts. So at this point, the initial application, we don't need any engineering per se. So we're just kind of getting ready if we do get invited to do a full application. So we're qualifying, we're asking council to go ahead and qualify two of the engineers that responded. And so then once we actually determine for sure what we are going to look at applying for, should we get invited or score well enough to get invited to do a full application, then we'll come back and we'll relook at them, ask them for more information based upon exactly a better, scope of what we're looking at. And then we can more fairly score them based upon the exact scope of the project we're looking at applying for. So we've identified Civil Corps and Urban Engineering as the two firms that were best qualified under drainage and streets and drainage.
Just want to.
And at this point, we're just asking for council to establish them as qualified in this category for this RFQ.
All right, well, I'll make a motion to. I'm sorry.
Urban, Civil Corps is a list
Yeah.
of qualified engineers.
Make a motion to approve the list of qualified engineers in category drainage or streets or drainage for the community development block grant disaster relief. And the qualified applicants were Urban and Civil Corp.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Approving Urban and Civil Corps is the list of qualified engineers in the category of drainage and streets and drainage for community development block grant to disaster relief, local community program grant application as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. None opposed, motion passed. To agenda item 14, consider resolution number R-030926-2 of the city of Port Lavaca declaring April 2026 as Fair Housing Month. Jody.
Mayor Council, this is something we do each year. This is a requirement of all of our various state and federal grant projects to declare Fair Housing Month. We do that in April. So we're bringing this resolution to you in March. That way we can spend the entire month of April promoting fair housing in Port Lavaca.
Okay, there you go. So second.
We have a motion and a second approving resolution number R-030926-2, the city of Port Lavaca declaring April 2026 as Fair Housing Month as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Opposed, motion passed. All right, we move to agenda item 15, consider resolution number R-030926-3 of the city of Port Lavaca suspending the April 18th, 2026 effective date of the proposal by CenterPoint Energy Resource Corporation doing business as CenterPoint Energy Intex and CenterPoint Energy Texas Gas, South Texas Division, to implement the interim GRIP rates adjustments for gas utility investment in 2025 and requiring delivery of this resolution to the company and legal counsel. What does that mean?
Yeah, okay. CenterPoint Energy has filed their annual GRIP request, which gives them an increase. It is nothing we can protest, but we can delay it on behalf of the city's residents. What this will do is delay implementation of those fees until the beginning of June, 45 days from April 18th. So this delays them imposing that. This has been filed with the PUC. It is regulated, so it's not something they can randomly do. But this is something we've done many times, and it's just to delay the fees being imposed upon the citizens of Port Lavaca until 45 days after the objection deadline.
If we pass this, we get a few free months for our citizens.
45 extra days.
So the free is the same.
Yes.
Well, the
The
same,
fees,
an increase.
the fees are going up. Oh, gosh, it was like less than 50 cents.
Yeah.
It was not.
Make a motion to suspend.
What's a grip rate? What's it?
It's their expenses associated with maintaining the facilities. I think it said in that resolution what GRIP stands for.
Approving. We have a second.
Yes, the suspension. Approving the suspension.
We have a motion and a second approving the suspension as presented in resolution number R-030926-3, the city of Port Lavaca suspending the April 18th, 2026 effective date of the proposal by Centerpoint Energy to implement interim grip rate adjustments for gas utility investments in 2025 and the delivery of this resolution being legal counsel as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Hearing none opposed, motion passes. Say 50 cents.
It's a little bit less than that. I want to say 16 cents, but I could be wrong. I'll try to look it up while y'all are.
But he's gonna notice. All right, we move to agenda item number 16.
Somebody will.
Yeah. Dolores.
Yeah.
Consider resolution number R-030926-4, the city of Port Lavaca, Texas, for advanced funding agreement for a highway safety improvement program off system from the Texas Department of Transportation with the city of Port Lavaca.
Yeah, Mayor, Council, you might recall that we made an application with TxDOT for an alternative transportation funding in 2023. That was to construct a 10-foot wide shared use path on both sides of Independence and on one side of Sandcraft from Independence to County High School. That project was not funded, so the city moved forward with including the shared use path on the south side of Independence in our Independence Rehabilitation Project. Now, TxDOT, our Yoakum district, has scheduled to go ahead and perform the remainder of our original scope as part of a highway safety improvement program off-system project. So the project is going to include the 10-foot wide sidewalk on the north side of Independence from the Villa Apartments to Sandcraft. You recall, we did include a 6-foot wide sidewalk from Virginia to the Villa Apartments in the rehabilitation project. Then there'll be a 10-foot wide sidewalk on the west side of Sandcraft from Independence down to in front of County High School. There's a 10% required local participation match, which is estimated at $84,908.30, and that will be paid using our transportation development credits instead of cash. So there's a resolution before you. We're asking for approval of this resolution authorizing execution of the advanced funding agreement for a highway safety improvement program off-system project. And again, to emphasize that there is no cash match required unless the project goes over budget. Rather, our match will consist of state transportation development credits that we have.
I make a motion that we approve resolution number R-030926-4.
Second.
We have a motion and a second approving resolution number R-030926-4, the city of Port Lavaca for advanced funding agreement for a highway safety improvement program off system from the Texas Department of Transportation with the city of Port Lavaca as presented. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. None opposed, motion passes.
I completely lied. It is $2.47 per customer per month for residential. For general service small, $4.18 per customer. And for general service large volume, $55.23 per customer.
June, we can push it off again.
If you have gas, Centerpoint, that's how much your bill will go up per month.
So I get one less soda.
7.
That's why.
Yes.
Soda. Okay, gasoline.
I apologize.
Yeah, we're,
One day a month I have to drink water.
I know, but you know, most of the neighborhoods are totally fair.
Item number 17, consider resolution number R-030926-5E of the city of Port Lavaca to appoint election judges for the city of Port Lavaca general officers election held on the uniform date of May 2nd, 2026. Andy?
Council, we're proposing to use the same election judges that we have been using for the last 3 years, which would be Agustin Rojas as the presiding judge, Jamie Delgado as the alternate judge, Michael Moeller for the presiding judge on the early voting ballot board, and Mary Lee Farland for the alternate judge on the early voting board. We do this every year. Now, I must point out that in section 6 for the compensation, we're proposing an increase on the compensation for judges. Since 2010, 16 years, they have been getting $12 for the judges and $11 for the election workers. It's a lot of responsibility for them, and I thought 16 years at that rate, if y'all are in approval, I would like to raise that compensation. It's going to be less than $1,000. It's like $819 increase annually on that type of.
Are these hand counted?
I make a motion to approve the
Yes.
election judges as.
A second.
Thank you, Councilman.
All right.
Appreciate it.
We have a motion and a second approving
Do hand count?
resolution number R-3096-5E of the city of Port to appoint election judges to
Be up all night.
the general office.
No, wait.
On the uniform date of May 2nd, May 2nd, 2026. Including the increase in.
Yes.
Yes.
The increase on the compensation.
Yeah, compensation.
As
As presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. And none opposed, motion passed.
Now, before we move on, Daniel, let me clarify something. We're not canceling any of the election this time because we do have the at-large position being opposed, okay? So you will be on the ballot and you'll have to get at least one vote.
I don't think you can get one vote.
Get one vote.
Gonna vote for
Remember.
Try that, yes. and
If I remember.
I can ask Jack to vote for you.
Yeah, I will be sure to tell Sissy that.
No, he's
I'll be there.
One vote.
Okay.
The rate, is there a policy for that, or is it just a resolution?
It's just in the resolution. It's just in the resolution. I mean, they have to be paid. But anyway, I appreciate that. Thank you, Council.
We'll move to agenda item number 18. Consider a lease agreement with Calhoun County for use of electronic voting equipment for the city of Port Lavaca general officers election held on uniform date of May 2nd, 2026. Mandy?
Yes, Mayor, Council, this election laws do require that electronic voting devices be made available to the voters. So this year, the county is charging us $698.25 for leasing this equipment. And that'll be for the early voting and for the election day. And it is budgeted.
Okay, make a motion to approve the lease agreement with Calhoun County for the use of electric voting equipment for the city of Port Lavaca general officers election held on May 2nd, 2026.
Second.
Motion by second approving the lease agreement with Calhoun County for use of electronic voting equipment. As presented, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. None opposed, motion passes. Next page. Okay, agenda item number 19, consider second and final reading of ordinance S-1-26 of the city of Port Lavaca approving a project and financing plan for the tax increment reinvestment zone. Number one, city of Port Lavaca, Texas, making various findings related to such plan, providing severability, providing for an effective date. Jody?
Mayor, Council, nothing has changed from the first readings. Again, this is an ordinance to adopt the final project and financing plan for TERS number one. That was adopted by the TERS number one board on February 9th. We have posted on our website the Google Maps version of the TERS zone that makes it a little easier to see exactly what properties are and are not in the TERS. But nothing has changed from the original ordinance. Again, we've got 75% participation from the city of Port Lavaca, 50% from Calhoun County, and 50% from Calhoun Port.
Okay, you guys got any questions about that one? Okay, make a motion to approve the second and final reading of ordinance S-1-26. City of Port Lavaca approving the project and financing plan for the tax increment reinvestment zone. Number one, City of Port Lavaca, Texas. Yeah. There you go.
You have to do a
Sign.
voice vote here.
I think there's a requirement for voice vote on that.
Why other cities voice vote on all ordinances, but it's not necessarily required. She marks the votes. So when everyone says, does everyone approve? Is anyone opposed? Then she's going to mark it unanimous.
Yes.
A voice vote is not.
Second. So we have a motion and a second of approving the second and final reading of ordinance S-1-26 of the city of Port Lavaca approving a project and financing plan for the tax increment reinvestment zone. Number one, city of Port Lavaca, making various findings related to such plan, providing severability, providing for an effective date as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. None opposed, motion passes.
All right, that's a big deal.
TERS is in effect. On it.
Yep.
Right. Could spend some money now, right, Jody?
Well, I don't have it yet, but yeah.
Move to agenda item number 20, consider first reading of ordinance S-2-26 of the city of Port Lavaca for amendments to the base ordinance S-4-25 for the 2025-2026 fiscal year budget, providing for budget amendments, providing for severability, providing for repealing clause, providing for an effective date. Rayanne?
Mayor and council, I ask that y'all consider the approval of this budget amendment of $130,000 for the manhole inspection. This goes with agenda item number 10.
That was 133 or 32.
Yeah, but I think we're only saying 130 because we
still
spent
money
the 90.
Oh, okay.
I think our original budget is 90,000 and we encumbered 87, so we still have a little bit of money.
Make a motion to approve the budget amendment. Happy that we're moving forward on this.
Yeah, second.
We have a motion and a second approving the first reading of the ordinance S-2-26 of the city of Port Lavaca for amendments to the base ordinance S-4-25 for the 2025-2026 fiscal year budget, providing for budget amendments, providing for severability, providing for critical, providing for an effective date. The amendment is in the amount of $130,000. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. And none opposed, motion passes. All right, we'll move to agenda item 21. Consider first reading of an ordinance G-2-26 the city of Port Lavaca amending the basic traffic control devices ordinance G-6-86, section 3 by adding traffic control signs in the original town site subdivision District 1, providing servability, providing repealing clause, and providing an effective date.
Mayor Council, this is basically a review of District 1. And what I noticed was a lot like some of the other neighborhoods where they used a lot of yield signs. And so what we're trying to do is eradicate all the yield signs and turn them into stop signs. We did on the very bottom, we did add a four-way stop at South and Benavides to kind of slow that straight shot all the way down when you turn out for Virginia's. Thank you.
What about speed bumps?
So the speed bumps, I'll get with Wayne. I looked about around the park, but I think the big issue when I look at this is driveways and then parking lots. And so I looked around George Adams Park, and there's a lot of driveways and also as far as the parking lots. So that would cause an issue as far as putting those there. And then I'll reassess it after we put all the stop signs to see kind of where we're at, see if it does some good.
There are four-way stops all around the park.
Yes, sir.
When you're keeping all these yields for in 10 years when they all go back.
I was gonna say, these roads are like 30 feet wide. And I mean, I know like going to my mom's, one of these will be now a stop sign. It's like, nobody's ever gonna stop at those stop signs. Ever.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them like that.
But the road's this skinny. You can see.
Well, I think we'll get them to yield at the stop signs because right now, yield signs, they can completely flatter. At least get them to pause.
For those tickets.
For sure.
I'll make a motion, so move.
Second. We have a motion and a second approving ordinance G-2-26, City of Port Lavaca amending the basic traffic control device ordinance G-6-86, section 3 by adding traffic control signs in the original town site subdivision District 1, providing severability, providing repealing clause, providing an effective date as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. None opposed, motion passes.
So we're gonna have a second reading?
There goes my sign
Comes the
budget.
second reading. Next month.
Carlo already took a good chunk of that, huh?
Part of this may have to wait till October.
Agenda item number 22, consider first reading of an ordinance G-3-26 of the City of Port Lavaca, amending the ordinance codified and described in the City of Port Lavaca's Code of Ordinances as Part 2, Chapter 8, Amusements and Entertainment, Section 8 to 22. Location and number of machines allowed within city limits, providing for purpose of ordinance, providing for severability, and providing for a repealing clause, and providing for an effective date. Derek?
Mayor, council, in your packet, there's a memo discussing from the February 23rd workshop. Staff is recommending, as discussed, to increase the distance from any church, school, hospital, daycare, or residence to 500 feet for amusement redemption machine centers. No difference, no separate, no singling out the profit or nonprofit business. Both of them will be regulated the same. And removing the limit of 6 machines for amusement centers. I did want to make clear that the definition we have for amusement center is an establishment that has at least 25% of the public floor area that's devoted to the machines. And these machines that we're talking about specifically are the ones not including like pinball machines, claw machines, football, pool tables, the skilled games. Also does not include pay toilets. I don't know if it's been a long time since I've seen one of those. Pay telephone, coin operated rides for kids, vending machines and similar. Mainly it's for random generated machines. Let's see. And it should be, in your packet, it's, reflecting that in the ordinance, proposed ordinance change.
This doesn't apply to the shop, new shop down on Virginia.
That one is, claw machines.
Skill based.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So this, pretty much like we said last time, at the last meeting, this keeps what we have, doesn't really allow for any more.
Pretty much. It's going to be hard. In fact, I had a phone call today, another phone call asking about a location for somebody who was wanting to open one up. And it ended up being too close to the church.
That's grandfather. Are you saying that we can still have them coming in as long as they're not close to the?
It's going to be difficult to find a location in city limits with these set with these requirements. And plus they have to be 1,500 foot away from each other as well.
So like, because I know one of them wanted to locate where Lovely Nails just left.
Right.
And that's too close, right? To the
By Dairy Queen?
by Dairy Queen.
That's the call I got today.
Yeah.
I told
I
him.
didn't think it
One on Broadway that wants to go there.
That one, I told them they have 1 month. If council does approve this ordinance, they have to have the CO issued before this ordinance goes into play. But yeah, it is right next to, there's a residence right behind it. There's a neighborhood right there next to it.
Well, those places don't have loud music, do they?
Not necessarily, no.
Not really gonna affect it.
it's just the criminal element.
It's just a criminal.
That's kind of what we discussed.
Everything,
Like a minute.
everything is a criminal animal.
It's
Want them to begin.
do you remember in Victoria when they had like robberies and
I think there's two.
because of the money?
Grandfather, what we got?
Yeah, there was a lot in the.
Yeah, when they get shut down in Victoria, they come over here to see what if they can open it over here.
Right now, we don't have robberies with our current, how many do we have already?
Three to my knowledge.
Oh, see, that's it.
More than that.
And when
you
say three, when you're saying three, you're saying three that's good in the city.
No, three that's in operation right now. Amusement centers.
Amusement centers, but what about these ones that have these games, these same games that they're playing at these amusement centers?
I'm sorry?
Businesses that have these same games that you're calling amusement centers or that they're playing at the amusement center. What about those businesses? Do we know about those types of businesses?
Well, there's like the Times Market, similar establishments that have less than six or less. That's not considered as an amusement center.
So we're just limiting the big ones and 25%.
25% of the floor area. Yes.
Fine amusement center again.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you again. It's means any business establishment in which one at least 25% of the public floor area is devoted to amusement redemption machines and or random generator machines.
I haven't had any citizens tell me that they don't want it.
I'm sorry?
I have not had any citizens to tell me that they don't want them.
Of course not.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I mean,
I haven't had anybody say anything like that either, Daniel.
I've had someone tell me that they do want them.
Well, the concern,
People obviously enjoyed them, you know?
Yeah.
the concern was getting too many of them, the congestion of them. Then that starts inviting the illegal activities and things like that because they're competing against each other. And we don't have enough people here to sustain, say, 15 amusement centers.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's just like I said, and you can, the distances, the spacing, any of that, if council thinks it's too stringent, not stringent enough, anything can be changed on it.
Yeah, we could revisit it, right?
No,
First reading.
this is first reading.
But I mean, like even a year from now, we'll see.
Yes.
Just like a prior council banned them.
Right.
We've had issues recently on the ones that are here.
Criminal element. Man, I don't want them here.
Already here.
Well, that's grandfather.
Just because y'all
And don't
No,
because you
not checking.
too many.
Because they were back in.
Yeah.
Have we had any issues recently? It was criminal activity in these amusement amusement.
It's just starting, Danny.
It's just
starting.
And as you get
That's why we had Vanda, because there was.
Come in here. What? Why are we, why are they?
They're making money.
money.
They're
Take advantage of poor people that can't afford it.
They're spending their money. Nobody's got a gun to their head.
I know, but you don't want to encourage.
And the elderly, they take advantage of the.
I'm not encouraging them, but if it's their money, if they want to do it, that's their problem. That's not my problem.
When they can't pay their
I'm
water
not gonna
bill.
tell them, no, you can't do it. If they want to do
Make the
it,
motion, Daniel, come up.
I'll make a motion to, what is it?
Except.
Approve the first reading.
Reading.
Okay, I'll make a motion for the first reading. The ordinance G 226. City of Port Lavaca, amending the base, no, that's the wrong one. G 326, City of Port Lavaca, amending the ordinance codified. Described in City of Port Lavaca Code of Ordinances as Part 2, Chapter 8, Amusement, Entertainment. Sections 822, location, number of machines allowed within city limits. For purpose of ordinance, providing for severability, providing a repeating clause, providing an effective date. And I don't have, as far as I'm concerned, no restrictions. You can bring them all in.
Oh, changing it then. I was gonna.
So you're not approving it, or you are?
Well, yeah, I'm approving it, but I mean,
Motion to approve.
This is what Derek's doing is just keeping what we got. No more extra ones.
No, that's not what he said.
No, that's not.
That's what he said.
I think the amount of them that can come from the town.
But there
No, but the way that he's spaced them out according to the distances.
Right.
there's one more that can come in.
Well, just because we don't have the ordinance yet.
Well, I mean, so again, what's here is based upon the conversation at the workshop. But yes, I mean, an option is just ban it. Like, what this is doing is providing enough restriction to where it's going to be extremely difficult.
Yeah.
More to come in without out and out banning them.
And this is just for random generating machines.
Not for that.
Now, video games, you can have, the kids can have an arcade come in, and have all kinds of different games and stuff. Those are still allowed.
Yeah.
There's no restrictions on those like that.
This is just for gambling.
Right.
So.
The 6-liners, the 8-liners.
Amendment or what? I mean,
No, you're
Just
either
approve
using this or
Approving as presented.
and this is the first reading.
it's the first reading, yes.
Second.
Yes, I'll second that.
Have a
The more the better.
And a second, approving
Las Vegas.
the first reading of ordinance G 3 26 of the city of Port Lavaca, amending the code of ordinances codified and described in the city's Port Lavaca's Code of Ordinances, Part 2, Chapter 8, Amusements and Entertainment, Section 8-22, location and number of machines allowed within the city limits, providing for purpose of ordinance, providing for servability, providing for an effective date as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign.
Hey,
Have one opposed.
If it goes back, you guys can tell me, I told you so. We'll revisit it and we'll change it.
And I'm at that point. Right, now we move to agenda item number 23, consider first reading of an ordinance G 4 26 of the city of Port Lavaca, amending the ordinance codified and described in the city of Port Lavaca's Code of Ordinances as Part 2, Chapter 12, Buildings and Building Regulations by adding a new Article 7, Congregate Living Facility, providing for purpose of ordinance, providing for severability, providing for a repealing clause, and providing for an effective date. Darren?
Mayor, council, in your packet, the memo discussing the discussion that we had during the February workshop. We have received numerous complaints regarding the residential property owners converting single-family dwellings into shared living facilities. These rooms are being rented out weekly or a monthly basis. I've also found single-family homes that were actually built solely for this purpose. And our adopted codes currently do not address occupancy loads in single-family dwellings. The minimum standards have resulted in the overcrowding of dwellings that are originally designed for 1 and 2 family dwellings. Some of the issues that do arise are the following. The main concern is life safety. The fire department goes or EMS goes to for an emergency at a location thinking that it might be a single family residence, and come to find out there's 16 people living in there. It becomes a major issue due to that. The off-street parking, it's resulted in vehicles parking on unimproved surfaces and or congestion on the streets. And it also has put a severe strain on our city's wastewater system. In January of this year, the city of Humble had adopted an ordinance regulating shared living homes. The proposed ordinance mimics these regulations. And as council could see, everything was the same as we discussed during the workshop. There'd be an annual fee, which would take care of the inspection costs and administrative fees. The building and fire department will be allowed to do periodic inspections, which we do anyway. We do we'll put a limit on the number of proposed tenants. The maximum number of unrelated occupants per unit will be 4. Maximum of 2 occupants per bedroom. Now this is that's adults. So I want to be clear on that, not kids. And then a minimum of 150 square foot of floor area per occupant, where our current, let's see, our minimum floor space right now with our existing building code is 50 square foot per occupant. And then a minimum of 1 off-street parking space per bedroom, and parking will not be allowed on unimproved surfaces. Council did want me to include in there that all off-street parking, driveways, and maneuvering areas shall be surfaced with an approved hard dustless material that is maintained in a good condition. And the congregate living, like I said, it is for up to 4 unrelated. And this is for them, the rooms that are being rented out. Most of the time they're locked separately. They don't, the tenants don't have access to all the rooms in the house. And they do have shared cooking and bathroom facilities normally.
Derek, just to Mr. Garza, when he spoke earlier, so when you said we had lots of complaints, I mean, he was asking, was that 1 or was it 10 or 20?
I don't know. I've had several a lot of them since I've been here. We've got a lot of issues with I found a house that had 16 people living in it. There's people living in the dining room and living room. There was a fire last year, and luckily nobody got hurt, but it was supposed to have been a single family house, and they had actually converted it into a unsafe boarding house. Let's see. And that's just, and then there's been examples of a couple of them been because of fires that we found that they go in on the weekends or at night, and they make all these improvements, and then they make it basically unsafe for the tenants and for the firemen if they have to go in to rescue. And I've found this in several different places since I've been here. And I know of a lot more. I get complaints about it of a lot more. So we're just trying to track them down. And it's not that we're trying to govern everybody with these. It's just we just want to make sure that it's safe. And whenever you have people converting, they're doing rooms that they don't have windows, emergency egress. There's no smoke detectors. You don't know, and you don't know what's your neighbor's doing in the other bedroom. And if there's a fire, there are all kinds of different scenarios can play out that makes it unsafe.
Okay, and the other one, you said the 50 square feet is code, but we're saying 150 square feet. I mean,
Right.
what's the rationale for that?
Just living area space for the tenants. With the existing building code, it is 150 for the first occupant. I'm sorry, I didn't say that.
Okay.
And then it's 50 for each additional. But this is like whenever I was looking at Humbles, that's what they had. And I thought that was a good number for spacing. That way that helps with the congestion as well.
Please show us.
You're only talking about a 10 by 15 area. So it's not, gives you a little bit of room to move around.
Are these congregate homes in areas that are single living homes to start with?
Yeah, Brook Hollow Estates, Brook Hollow.
That, I mean, you're talking about the safety there and stuff like that, but that does to the in the neighborhood itself and how it changes the dynamic of what people thought to bring their families up in these little homes.
Right.
The speed of these trucks, I mean, these are usually not community members that are renting these.
Right.
And so when people have these in these neighborhoods, and I like to say usually it's in the less affluent neighborhoods that this happens too. And it's if you were destroying these neighborhoods from families living there. The neighborhood slowly will go down and down because people don't want to bring their families there because there is this different dynamic. So are you, because this got glossed over, seemed like quickly that you're proving that, but even, a 3-bed, think of just plenty of 3-bedroom homes that have 6 different people, I guess, living in it and numerous children changes it from maybe a single or maybe 2 families live there, maybe it's parents and, but I mean, so if you're saying it's fine to, like, I'm about to send flyers to my neighborhood, okay, because they don't like that this is happening in these neighborhoods that families aren't, with the playgrounds and stuff like that, but I know that this is something that we do in this area because of all the contractors, but maybe there's areas that, I don't know that we have zones for this, that, okay, this is single family home.
We don't have zoning.
We don't have zoning.
Whatever that means.
Yeah. Right.
But it is completely brushed over what it does to the neighborhood and the neighbors.
Comfort has zoning.
Yeah, well,
And that was really,
yeah, and that's
like, that because it pisses the neighbors off, okay?
Right.
That's really what it is. So that's Rose in my community. I know that we have some good people that live there, and I get that. So maybe, I don't know who came up with these ordinances to make that, but if that's the board or the committee that does that, but maybe that's where that needs to be announced because I know that people piss about how flippant, I mean, again, 6 people in a home and again, if that's kids and then their friends that come and stay with one night and what makes them actual residents, you know what I mean? I you still have.
They rent by the week.
Yeah,
They rent by the week or the month.
So you don't even see, and actually somebody come out for 2 days because there's one job that needs to, and they'll just come sleep on the couch. And so all that happens. And if someone parks there's 3 cars on the street one day, it's not gonna be that the next. And then the way the traffic goes through, because they're not worried about, I'll tell you, they tear through there. So I want to make sure that is what you're talking about, because I'm gonna be on that because it's something that people in neighborhoods hate.
Yeah.
And it takes down the town altogether. If we had areas where this is maybe okay, and I know maybe if the owner lives in that home. And that is their homestead home. Maybe I could be okay if they want to have more, if they want to rent out their extra rooms to 2 other people.
Right.
They have to live there. People that do that don't even live in that neighborhood.
No, the main concern is they're piling people in.
Yeah.
And it's unsafe. But you're talking about the zoning. We don't have zoning right now, but we do. But in the building code, it does address where it changes from residential to non-residential. And if you get to a certain amount of people inside of a home like that, then it could be considered as non-residential. And also,
is congregate considered residential? Because maybe it goes to a homestead. Like it ain't residential until a homestead, or if it's a single family. Those are codes you can change.
Right.
What area you can homestead, you can have actually living there, and that's your main home. But.
Well, this ordinance, the way it's written right now,
I know what I'm at.
well, this order, the way it's written right now, up to 4 people unrelated is still considered as a single family dwelling. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Chief, but technically all residential units are supposed to be sprinkled. The legislation came in back in 09 or whatever it was, and had it exempt for single family and 2 family dwellings. Well, if it's not used in the single family dwelling as defined in this ordinance, then it converts to it maybe have to be sprinkled too then. There's a lot of different things.
Difficult enough that it's not worth.
And yeah, then there's a lot of other life safety issues that need to be addressed as well. That was just one thing I just brought up, but that's all the reason for.
Those gas detectors.
Committee takes that into consideration. That I do know in my neighborhood, and I may talk to 1 or 2 of them that it is one of the concerns they have. Is that
It's commercial.
Other homes are being built.
Yeah.
People living up to 6 miles, they're gonna wreck theirs in the neighborhoods.
Or I guess it was exempted if it was for residential.
Yep.
And so we could just slowly take this down. That's left.
Right.
So everything that goes with that. So I don't know if something, do we need to come into the committee meetings and, what is it can we do? Maybe you and I could have a conversation. What can we do in our community?
Once this ordinance passes, if it passes and it gets a second reading and it passes, then you can make a complaint. That's the way it would work.
How are you gonna identify these locations where they've got people that are not,
You have to have people report.
Right, that's
You have to have people report.
Yeah, but other than that, I mean,
It's nowhere in the ordinance.
what's the, like Derek's,
So existing.
how's he gonna identify? Is he gonna go out and look around? Is he gonna depend on the people to report it, or?
Code enforcement, people reporting, building permits.
Bradley does make the section of different sections of town.
Driving around.
You know,
And maybe that's what I think is
We have 6 cars and there's only 4 of us put in there. I know, that's it.
It's coming up with okay, how do you manage this from a neighborhood standpoint? And it's one of the things I'm gonna start around.
Because the parking.
And
I know that's good stuff.
Yeah. We need to
People's yards that aren't being mowed, they complain about having the mower there.
just, and help, whatever it does to help you out. That's
Right.
right. It usually be a guy.
Neighbors are complaining that he's not making them mow their backyard too.
Again, I always say they're in town to drink all our beer and sleep with all our women. They're like, well, we like a different community for some of these neighborhoods. So, thank you.
CJ.
I wanted to ask, is there anything in this ordinance about violations, as in like, what penalties do they get, or citations do they get if they're in violation?
Yeah, it's in the ordinance, and then also the next item on the agenda, it discusses that as well.
It's 2,000.
But it's $500 for misdemeanor.
It's 2,000.
And 2,000. Yeah, if it's a fire safety, public health, or sanitation, then it's 2,000. Any other offense would be 500. It's typical. Yes. It's up to the judge. But that's typical fines for any ordinance.
Doesn't say per day, it just says per
I think it says in the piece.
day.
I think so. So did you say that these buildings would have to be sprinkled in order to meet the permit?
If it becomes a non-residential structure, that is one thing.
But yeah, what you and I talked about today, as long as it complies with this and there's no more than 4 unrelated people, then no.
Yeah, no, as long as they're following this ordinance, no.
Just wanted to.
No, it's still, that's what I was saying, it's still considered as a single family dwelling.
Family, but once they go above 4.
And it becomes commercial, basically.
And it's all.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Once you identify a house like this, what's the steps in getting it taken care of? What's the next step? You have to like write them a letter, you gotta wait 30 days or what?
Yeah.
Well, we'll give them a time frame to bring it into compliance, depending on what it is.
So they could still stay there for another 30 or 60 days until the process goes through.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to kick them out right away.
Why not?
It's not legal.
No.
Okay.
Next, very next sentence. Yeah.
Okay, I can see that. Very good.
Yeah, I read it somewhere. I couldn't find it.
We have a motion to approve the first reading.
Involves clutter. We don't need this.
I like the spirit of this. I guess the only thing I have a problem with, Derek, is making the honest people pay $100 and additional inspection fees. Like, if they're showing they're willing to comply with you and stay within these rules, then why punish them? You know? So
Dollars is for the inspection.
$100 is a lot. I mean,
Now, when they're getting 250 a week.
tax fees, they're paying water bills, they just need Wi-Fi.
$200 per person per month.
I'll only do it one time.
It says the annual permit to operate the facility, $100.
Yeah.
That's what pays.
It's a way to.
Well,
it's me and Bradley, so you have to double.
Okay, so realistically, nobody's gonna sign up for this, right? Who's gonna come and put themselves under this? When they can just rent like they rent, don't go over the 4 people, don't make a big scene, park cars on the street, and then just fly under the radar.
They might.
They might.
They might, but if they
might
do,
work.
they get.
They will if they follow these rules.
If they follow the rules.
They could be fined for operating an unpermitted congregate living facility.
Sounds like we'll get a healthy reading of this ordinance after first reading.
And again, yeah, so we're gonna do the first reading, and then if you guys want to rethink some of the permit fees or even, the inspection fee, talk to people and, we can change it in the second reading.
And I did talk to, it was brought up earlier, I did talk to the city of Humble, the code enforcement officer that actually enforces this over there. And of course, they're just getting started with it because it was in January. But this really came about, they don't have as much of an issue with it as we do. But they did have it was a 3,600 square foot house that they converted, it made 15 units in it. And, some of them didn't have the correct size windows for emergency egress. So there was all kinds of different violations. Their fire alarm, they had disconnected it and it wasn't working correctly. But anyway, there was a lot of things, and that's what really got the ball rolling on this. But he said that it seems like it's a good tool for them for this type of use.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense to put the rules on it, but
yeah,
If they got that many people in there, they're making a lot of money, so $100 ain't gonna be nothing to pay.
the guys that have less than 4 are still subject to the $100 too, right?
Less than 4.
Because you're just identifying yourself as a.
Because, if you're over 4, then you're not one of these.
It's not residential anymore. It's more commercial, more than the commercial side. It's a business.
We have a motion to approve the ordinance as presented. Have a second. We have a motion and a second approving the first reading of ordinance G-4-26 of the city of Port Lavaca, amending the code of ordinance codified and described in the city of Port Lavaca's code of ordinances as part 2, chapter 12, buildings and building regulations, by adding a new article 7, congregate living facility, providing for purpose of the ordinance, providing for severability, providing for appealing clause, and providing for an effective date as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Me, no, aye.
Opposed?
No, me, aye.
First reading passes. And we'll move then to agenda item number 24. Consider first reading of an ordinance G-5-26 of the city of Port Lavaca, amending the code of ordinances appendix A, fees, rates, and charges, chapter 12, buildings and building regulations, Article 7, congregate living facilities and providing an effective date. Derek.
Mayor, council, your packet, there's showing Exhibit A, the proposed rates for the congregate living, for the permit to operate, re-inspections at $40, and then the penalties for violations, which was discussed earlier, the 2,000 for safety, but fire safety, public health and sanitation, and 500 for all other offenses.
So this is where you would change that if you wanted to change the, the amount for the permit to operate or reinspection or penalties.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd just vote to scratch that and I'd be perfectly happy. 'Cause you got the penalties, you got the, the parameters to follow. So we can scratch those, Derek. I'll make the motion. Well, okay, how do
I'm working for free now.
Meeting.
You're getting paid, you're here.
So, no permit fees or anything. I mean, inspection fees or anything.
Yeah, because then you'll get people to sign up, because, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not encouraging to come sign up and you get slapped with a bill right off the bat.
Right.
So, all right, let me see, how do I work this? Approve the first reading of the ordinance of the city of Port Lavaca, amending the code of ordinances. Appendix A, fees, rates, and charges. Chapter 12, buildings and building regulations. Article 7, congregate living facility. But the only thing I want to change is no fees to sign up and no re-inspection fees. Matter, back me up. Thank you, Tim.
We have a motion and a second approving the first reading of ordinance G-5-25, the city of Port Lavaca, amending code of ordinances. Appendix A, fees, rates, and charges, chapter 12, buildings and building regulations, article 7, congregate living facilities, providing an effective date as presented, but with no fees for sign up or
So no permit, no permit to operate and no re-inspections.
Correct.
Yes, ma'am.
No permit?
Fee, no permit, fee.
No permit.
You still need a permit.
Yeah, they just have to pay for it.
No re-inspections made.
For people to sign up.
Okay, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign.
Aye.
2 opposed.
Yeah, Rose, you're the tiebreaker here.
I said aye.
We have three in favor and 2 opposed.
Public vote or nays.
Doesn't matter either.
Rosie and
Who else?
Daniel. The first reading of ordinance G-5-26 passes.
You might sign it.
Move to agenda item number 55. Consider the request of the Harbor Children's Alliance and Victim Center for closure of streets adjacent to 215 West Railroad Street for the annual hosting of the Celebrate the Child Picnic on Saturday, March 28, 2026 from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. The streets to be closed are North Benavides from the rear of the library driveway to West Railroad from North Benavides to North End Street.
For council, this is their annual event as far as the Harbor Children's Alliance Center. This is pretty much the same plan we've had in place for probably the last 5 years or more. For that block party they had.
What groups do you have there assisting with it?
See, we have pretty much several nonprofits that come out. Police department's out there, fire department. Sheriff's department. Bit of people actually.
EMS.
A
lot of the nonprofits and HEB and
HEB. Usually the mayor does a proclamation.
I motion that we accept the Harbor Children's Alliance and Victim Center for the closed streets adjacent 215 West Railroad Street for the annual hosting of Celebrate the Child Picnic.
Second.
We have a motion and a second approving the request of the Harbors Children Alliance and Victim Center for closure of the streets adjacent to 215 West Railroad Street for the annual hosting of the Celebrate the Child Picnic on Saturday, September 28, 2026, from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. None opposed, motion passes. Right. We're at agenda item number 26. Consider recommendation of the planning board for a variance to the front building setback line to allow for a carport. Property ID 18459. Legal description is block 3, Atlanta Park Mobile Home Edition, 800 Elm Street. Eric?
Mayor, council, in your packet is a request for a variance for the front building setback lines to allow for a carport. Included in there is also some pictures of it. It already been started. The work has, and we had to stop him a couple of times. He did come in to go ahead and apply for the variance. And at this time, he's requesting the waiver of the setback requirements. After the planning board did approve it, the board approved the request due to complying with the current setback requirements for a carport may result in an undue hardship. As you can see in that on the map, that triangular shape of the property limits him on what he can do on that property. So therefore, he doesn't have the same rights as other property owners do.
The variance is due to a hardship?
Because he's not given the same rights as other property owners in that area because of the shape of his property. So that's why staff and the planning board is recommending approval of the request.
I'll make a motion to exist.
Approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the recommendation of the planning board for the variance to the front building setback line to allow for a carport on property ID 18459, which is block 3 of Atlanta Park Mobile Home Edition, 800 Elm Street as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Hearing none opposed, motion passes. Right, we move to agenda item number 27. Consider recommendation of the planning board for ice and water vending machine to be located at the corner of Benavides and Austin Street, property ID 17399. Legal description, lot 5 and 6 of block 44, the original town site, 405 South Benavides Street. Derek?
Mayor, council, in your packets, the information for the ice machine that Mike is wanting to put in on Benavides. It's actually going to be the corner of Austin and Benavides. It's similar to the one that was over here on 35 in Virginia. It was put in y'all's packet late, but I did. You should have a site plan showing the location of it, and it's showing that he's wanting to have a drive-through. And that's going to help with vehicles with trailers and not having issues with backing up. The ice machine structure is actually going to be off of Austin and Benavides. So it's not going to be right up on the road where it's going to be completely visible. Yeah, so the driveway will be in front of it. And he is going to be working with us as far as complying with the landscape ordinance as well. It is in the high density residential, but it is adjacent to the commercial properties, lots within the future land use plan. Planning board did approve the motion that all MEPs will be required to pull permits if needed, along with complying with the landscape ordinance. Tech stock grant will be used for sidewalk. And he'll be working with us on doing the sidewalk on Benavides side.
Motion to recommend. planning board. Been to be located in the corner of Railway Street and Austin Street, property ID 7299. Legal description is lot 5 and 6, block 44, original count.
What's an MEP, Derek?
Mechanical, electrical, plumbing permits and inspections.
So, motion and a second approving the recommendation of the planning board for an ice and water vending machine to be located at the corner of Benavides and Austin Street, property ID 17399, lot 5 and 6, block 44, the original town site 405 South Benavides as presented. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. None opposed, motion passes. All right.
I can get rid of the ice machine and send cheese. Yeah. I don't know that yet.
We're gonna take a 5-minute break and then we're gonna come back for again the closed session.
That's what I would have preserved.
We're all here. I'm gonna go ahead and announce the closed session. I will announce that the city council will retire into closed session to discuss personnel matters in accordance with Title 5, Section 551.074 of the Texas Government Code to discuss appointment, employment, evaluation, duties, and responsibilities, assignments, discipline, or dismissal of an employee, officer, or employee, or to hear a complaint or charge against an officer or employee, specifically interim city manager and police chief.
What happened to the real estate one?
What?
Oh, no, it was not on this agenda. We'll do it on the next agenda. We didn't have it on this
We don't
one.
have any legal.
We didn't have it on this one, but we will have it on the.
So we were going to discuss your updates first. Where did I see that?
No, I sent that in a weekly update, or I sent that in a separate email and said that we would bring that up at a next closed session meeting, but it wasn't on this one. Because I think by the time I had done that, I think the agenda had already been posted. It's not on this one, but we'll put it on the next one.